We know what that sound means, boys. It's Outback QB mock draft time. We've waited all year, we've certainly waited all off-season, and here we are on a Saturday night, which is rare air in Musclecat Studios, because it's mock draft time.
Should have Ubered down here, Dos.
It's a party atmosphere.
Up here, I guess.
Up the driveway, make the Uber driver go right to the top.
I was worried. The wild weather, I wasn't sure if we were going to make up the driveway.
It has been a little while, hasn't it?
It's cooled off a little.
We've had wind, we've had dust, we've had rain. Finally some rain. But
Not
boys,
enough rain.
Not enough rain, it's spat. We've
Need
got a bit
about-
more coming this week, don't we?
Like about 50 mil more.
Yeah, we'll get there. But
We
look,
have another 50 mil coming this week.
No,
We need another 50.
Yeah.
Sorry.
the farmers are begging for rain, but
Yeah.
the listeners have been begging for the mock draft, boys, because this is, it's right up there with our favourite episodes of the year. It's quite possibly my favourite. Hawley, do you have one that you like more than this?
Pretty close to my favorite. I think my favorite episode of all time was the episode after I beat Kurt in this year's fantasy football championship game.
Yeah, that would have been nice for you. Dos, where does this rank on your Outback QB fantasy list?
Fantasy list or just episode
Just
list?
enjoyment list.
Oh,
I
number-
had the word fantasy in my brain.
Number one.
Number one?
I think this is
It is
episode.
pretty fun.
It's great fun. It is great fun. It's the third annual Outback QB mock draft. Now,
A little underdressed for it though.
hey, me.
Yeah. Where's the suit jacket?
Oh, says the guy in a purple Lakers
Well, you said
stuff.
you were wearing a suit jacket.
I was going to wear my general manager's kit, a suit jacket, but then I saw like a Washington Redskins vintage jumper. I saw a Lakers jacket, and I thought, well, I'll go like the casual GM look with. This is like a 2025 general manager. You know, some of them just wear polo shirts these days.
Yeah,
Bill
that's true.
Belichick's dog made a pic at some point, didn't he? Was that Bill's dog during COVID?
Yeah, I think that was that photo of him just sitting on the chair by himself, wasn't it?
Yeah, and that
Or
dog
the
wasn't
That
wearing a
is-
jacket. So
That's
it's good enough for Bill Belichick's dog. It's good enough for me.
All right.
Now, the rules. There aren't many. It's not even really a rule. It's more just setting the tone, Dos. And that is that this is not a prediction mock draft. We're not trying to choose who the teams will pick and predict what's going to happen in a week's time. What we are trying to do, we've been assigned teams each randomly, and then we had some trades. You and I have ended up with 11. Hawley's ended up with 10. Crafty started with 11, went down to 10. We are trying to...
Wanted 8.
Wanted 3. Wanted to be done
Oh,
after.
all I wanted was pick 1 and 4.
All
no,
done
head
by
off.
pick 16, and then it was feed up.
It's efficiency.
Red wine time.
But what we're trying to do is make the best decisions for these franchises, right? We're acting as though we are the general managers, and it's our opinion of what best sets up these teams according to their needs, according to their future projections. And that's all the business of tonight, really.
That's it. And I can't wait. I'm interested to see what Hawley does, though. I sense some curveballs could be coming, and I have prepared adequately for that.
Have you?
Especially
Contingencies. I want to see
Yeah.
your matrix of potential picks.
I'd love to see your computer screen compared to mine.
I reckon it's if C Hall selects a Genty, then, and then it goes down one snake. If no Genty, and then it goes the other side.
there's a full process flow
it's like
for all
Goosebumps.
picks.
It is choose your own adventure, Goosebumps.
Exactly.
That's right. And it could be just as scary too, Chris, once we get into it. Now, it is a bit of a party atmosphere. Dos, you've brought along a lovely bottle of wine. We're not sponsored. We don't need to mention the name, but it was...
Oh, all right.
It was... Well, it's a
We
Bremerton.
can,
You
yeah,
like-
Bremerton, Selkirk, local, South Australian.
Yeah.
Kurt.
Lovely.
So,
Where is that? Barossa based or...
no.
McLaren Bay?
Langhorne Creek,
Langhorne Creek.
out near Strathalbyn Way.
Oh, very nice. And now that's why I said party atmosphere before, because we very rarely do this on a Saturday. We very rarely indulge during a podcast. But
Well, the last time I think we had alcohol during a podcast was a Christmas episode of which our esteemed QB2 over here maybe just
Christopher?
overindulged a little bit,
I fell
which was
I think I
before a
fell
golf,
over.
which was before a golf trip, not a
tripped over on the way
golfing
out, didn't
round
I?
as well.
he tripped over and the pizza got delivered and the ads got to the pizza, remember?
Pizza was
So I
delivered,
didn't
covered in
check
ants.
my phone.
Oh.
One of the pizzas was okay still.
Drink responsibly. We're having probably one and a half glasses of red each as we just relax into a Saturday. Because
We'll see how we go, depending on.
Well, I'm driving. Dos is the passenger. So
I'm
he can-
riding shotgun.
He can
so-
hit it.
I can't wait to see what he picks at pick 32 for the Eagles, but let's go. All right, now we have had a lot of listeners send in clips. In fact, I think we got 30 odd, almost 32. We had a couple that just for technical reasons, didn't quite get there. So not every team's done, but we have had some replacements for certain teams. But about 30 listeners sent in an introduction, and it was a fantastic crop. You guys have not heard the intros. I obviously have, because I needed to, well, firstly, vet them. I didn't have to cancel any, so they all made it through. Well done. And then I had to upload them technically. So I've heard them, but I'm looking forward to you guys hearing them, because that's one of the great things about this episode too, the fans getting involved. So look,
I feel like I'm going to catch some strays.
Maybe one or two.
Yeah, I think
Maybe.
so.
And I had nothing to do with that either.
No, but I've been forewarned by a couple that I may be getting a clip on the way through.
A Buffalo Bills fan, perchance?
Might be a Bills fan, might be a Broncos fan in there as well.
Oh, I'm not sure. I'm not sure what the Broncos one was. I'll look forward to finding out when I hear that again. All right. Are we ready to go, boys?
How would you like us to introduce the player?
I reckon name, position, team.
Gotcha.
We happy with that?
University, college. Gotcha.
Now,
college,
college is what I meant. The draft order. Let's very quickly go through that, at least the first few picks. We know Tennessee are picking first. That's Hawley. Then it's myself with the Cleveland Browns and the New York Giants. Then it's back to Hawley with the Patriots. Doss will just be sipping on his red for the first four. And then it becomes Doss time. The Jags and the Raiders he's got. Then I've got the Jets, who I traded in from Hawley. Then it goes to you again, Doss, with the Panthers. And then who's got the Saints? Check my notes. Hawley's got the Saints. Well, look, I'm going to say it now. That could really dictate the draft, the Saints pick. On paper, you think Saints not that exciting, but that could really shape some things.
That pick is going to be shaped by what happens in the 3 or 4 picks leading up to it.
Really?
I have a few options here. Ready to go.
All right, I can't wait for that. And let's round out the 10 Chicago Bears, and that is back to Doss. And then, of course, we've got the remaining 22, which we'll go through. All right, we've waited long enough. Are we ready?
I'm ready.
Where's Rog?
Haven't got Rog this year.
Oh, okay.
Haven't got Rog this year.
Showing up this year.
Well, because Francisco welcomes everybody to the draft.
Yes?
He introduces the Titans. Yeah, he does it swiftly. We didn't need the negativity of Roger being booed by everyone. 100,000 fans or whoever it is just laying into the commissioner. So let's get going. Should have asked, Ollie, is the pick in?
Oh, the pick's in.
The pick's in.
I'm a little nervous to announce it.
Pick one before.
Introducing pick one, the Tennessee Titans, is Francisco Garrido.
Welcome to the 2025 NFL Draft. Let's begin. And with the first pick in the 2025 NFL Draft, the Tennessee Titans, who I definitely wanted to pick, and not just because I wanted to be part of this podcast, they select
Cam Ward, quarterback, Miami.
Okay, he's gone for Cam Ward.
Who would have thought?
Well, look, to be honest, I was a little anxious. I didn't quite know whether you were going there.
A big part of me would like to trade that pick out, and because they've got holes everywhere. I think we've talked about this enough, but they did upgrade their offensive line through free agency. So that probably does mean that they're looking at drafting a quarterback with pick one, and that will be Cam Ward. And he's the best quarterback in this class. They obviously need a quarterback. Will didn't work out.
He's still on the roster.
He's still on the roster, but
he ain't no starter.
He probably hasn't worked out. So Cam Ward's, they're putting all their chips in the Cam Ward basket now. So let's hope that it works out for them.
Now, Doss, if you're following along on PFF, as we are, to keep our big boards updated, you would have had to scroll down to 21, and you would find
scroll down a fair way to get the Cam Ward.
And it's interesting because a lot of the time we do see the number one overall pick as a quarterback who's not necessarily number one on the big board. But you don't often see them outside of the top 20, and I think consensus he's somewhere between 8 and 14 on a lot of boards. PFF have him a little lower. But he's a hard one to grade, right? I mean, he's put up 18,000 yards over his college career, 158 touchdowns from Incarnate Word through to Miami. He's produced, and he's a risk taker, and he's a big moment player. But there are questions about, does he sometimes overstep? Is the moment that when he tries to go for it, is that what undoes him? And is that what will undo him at NFL level? So that's my concern about Ward.
Yeah, and that's fair, Kurt. But I just don't know what else the Titans can do in this situation.
I think it's the right pick.
I think it is too, and I'd be stunned if they didn't draft Cam Ward with pick one on Friday. Because we saw the falling out with Brian Callahan and Brian Callahan lashing in a few times on the sidelines last season. You could tell that he just wasn't happy with Will Levis's quarterback play. And the more the mistakes and simple errors that he was making that he really shouldn't have been making. He looks good for a game or two, Will Levis. And then after that, it's just a lot of bad quarterback play. And this is where they're going to head. And hopefully for Tennessee fans, it turns out better with Cam Ward than what it has done with Will Levis.
All right, that's the first one done. The most predictable one of the draft. Pick 2 is in. Now, this one's not quite as predictable, but to introduce the Cleveland Browns pick, we have Sean Bock, known as Beanstalk.
The Cleveland Browns, historically known for heartbreak, quarterback roulette, and being the team everyone laughs at, including our own fans. But tonight, that changes. We've got the 2nd overall pick, a clean slate, and just enough delusion to believe this is finally our year. With the 2nd overall pick in the 2025 Outback QB mock draft, the Cleveland Browns select
Travis Hunter, wide receiver and cornerback, Colorado State. Now, we all know the story with Travis Hunter, boys. Heisman-winning two-way extraordinaire, a rare prospect whose true home on the field is hard to pin down for all the right reasons. But he's a player who, if he reaches his potential on both sides of the ball, could be one of the best stories in history. Right? Is he a number 1 wide receiver? Is he a number 1 cornerback? Who the heck knows? But I know that the Cleveland Browns have a lot of holes. They have holes at receiver, they have holes in their secondary, and that's why I went for Travis Hunter. Now, will his body stack up? That's one thing that we've spoken about. How much will he play on both sides of the ball in the NFL? But his numbers look good. Last year he had 1,200 yards receiving, he had 15 touchdowns, he had 4 interceptions and 11 passes broken up. I couldn't go past him. I think it's the right pick. Hawley?
Yeah, I think you have to go with Travis Hunter. Like you said, they have so many holes, and he fills 2 holes. One player can fill 2 holes. It's just a matter of, you're the GM. Do you play him full tilt on both sides of the football?
I don't know. I'll leave that to the coach. But see, this is the thing. In the real world, I'm nervous about the Browns taking Hunter. Because I've said it before. I think if there's one team who can completely waste his talent, it's the Browns. But if I have the responsibility and it's on me, I would pick him.
I think Dawson and I have spoken about it before. I think they commit to cornerback, play him as a corner, and then play him as a wide receiver in the red zone in 2-minute drills. And that's where I think they can probably maximize.
Is that what you think?
That's yeah.
If they can, the Browns can get it down into the red zone
So
enough.
he won't be playing a lot of offense. That's a good point. There won't be any need for 2-minute.
But he
2-minute
fits in
offense.
really well because this defense, when healthy, isn't that bad. It's a pretty
That's
good
right.
defense.
Yeah, if you put him alongside Ward and co, I mean, it's a pretty cool spot to be.
Like, this defense is handy.
Yeah.
And I think he fits in really well. That's why I like the pick. Or the fit for Travis Hunter in Cleveland. So.
I think you're right with the physicality. If he can live up to if he can play through that physicality, because you go to the NFL, these guys are bigger, faster, stronger.
I think you'll be fine.
They're everything that he hasn't come up against yet, and he has to do it on both sides of the ball. He's not getting a break like a lot of these guys would. But like you said, he's done it his whole career. He's done it all through college, high school,
And he wants to play on both sides of the ball.
And he wants to do it. So, it's probably the most interesting, or he is the most interesting player in the draft.
Most certainly.
Yeah.
Hawley, now I do need to take issue with your outfit because that is the loudest jacket I've ever heard. Every time you make a point, I can hear it. I think you need to take it off. I'm sorry.
The Lakers top.
It's rustling. Every time you move, it rustles through the mic.
He is
Oh,
channeling.
you can hear it.
He
Yeah.
is channeling GM Rob Pelinka, who worked out basically got offered Luka Doncic on a plate from the Mavericks.
Yeah.
Nico. So this is why Hawley was happy with wearing the Lakers.
I'm sorry. It's just too noisy. And now that I've pointed it out as well, people will not be able to unhear it.
Not allowed to have any fun at this podcast anymore.
Now you've got 2 shades of salmon on display. Light salmon hat, dark salmon
I
shirt.
slept in this t-shirt last night.
Did you really? We're a mess. It's 11
Well, I
p.m.
got changed in between.
Oh, right. Okay.
Put it
Okay.
back on.
All right. The
right.
third pick's in. It's me too. It's the New York Giants. Introduced by our good friend, Stephen Thomas.
G'day boys, thanks for having me. Excited to be here. Also excited for the Neighbours and Winston experience this year. With the third pick of the 2025 Outback Quarterback Mock Draft, your New York Football Giants select
Abdul Carter, defensive end, Penn State. Now, Carter is an athletic beast. He's got quickness. He's got strength off the line. He's difficult to match, boys. He posted ridiculous numbers with tackles for loss, DOS, in 2024. 23 and a half of them throughout his college campaign, which is huge. To go with 12 sacks, a couple of forced fumbles. And this is a man who, and this is one of the reasons I picked him, just transitioned in his last year from off-ball linebacker to the edge. Now, you can look at the Giants roster and say, well, they've already got those weapons there. They got Brian Burns, they got Kayvon Thibodeau, and on the interior, they got Dexter Lawrence, who we love, Sexy Dexy.
Yep.
do you think, do you need to go elsewhere? And this is what I thought about. I agonized over that with this pick because I didn't know whether to take the best player, Carter, which was a position of strength already, or go elsewhere in a position of more dire need. But I thought, let's make a strength a superpower. And if he's played linebacker, and we know Burns is flexible as well, they can rotate through that front seven. And if they've got those 4 names, plus a few other big boys in there who help out, Okereke, Ojulari, oh boy, that's a very, very nice front seven all of a sudden for the Giants.
Yeah, their secondary still worries me, Kurt, but I think Abdul Carter and that 3-headed monster with Burns and Thibodeau, if that falls for the Giants, they have to go with Abdul Carter if he's there at 3. And I love that pick.
Thank you. I just had looks into the future of Abdul Carter having 18 sacks in his second year and the Giants not picking him, and I thought, I can't be that guy. I can't be that guy. So I'm trying to correct some of the mistakes that the front office has made at the Giants. So
if they don't pick Abdul Carter, this is probably how the real life draft is going to play out. Is what we think. If they don't pick Carter, where would they go?
If they don't pick Carter, well, that's a great question. I don't know. I mean, I had a tackle in there. I'm not going to say the name, but I had a tackle because they do need some help for Thomas. I mean, the Evan Neal experiment, which we've spoken about a lot, Dos, hasn't worked out. So they got Thomas on one side. If he's fit, they could get a new tackle as well. That's what I thought.
They could, or you could look at the interior with Mason Graham going next to Dexter Lawrence.
Yeah, that's nice too.
You could look at that as well if you're the Giants. Because we've spoken about the trading aspect of it, and it's all, let's trade back. Well, Hawley and I have spoken. It's all good to want to trade back. You got to find someone to trade up with, and then you got to find another team to trade up with that has got good draft capital that'll give you. And the Giants, I just don't think at this point or at pick 3, I just don't think they will look to trade back. I think they will take Abdul Carter. I can't see them taking one of the quarterbacks with their 3rd pick.
And if you have possibly the best player in the draft at 3, you take him.
Yeah,
you take him. So that's what I've done. And I think, Hawley, to your point, this is reflective of what will happen in the real world. If I had to predict, I think these first 3 picks go. Yeah. But now
this is where it gets
now
interesting.
It gets very, very interesting. And I do need to stress as well, I should have said this beforehand. Well, there's 2 things. Firstly, every team still has their first-round pick, which is extraordinary. No trades yet, so that's why this is such a good episode. But Dos, did I mention YouTube before? What did I say about YouTube? Did I mention it in the intro?
To subscribe and follow?
Yeah, subscribe and follow, because this episode is a YouTube episode. I mean, you got to follow along with the PFF Big Board. So if you haven't yet, make sure you jump on. And for those who sent in video fan intros, they will also be on the episode on YouTube as well.
Oh, cool.
So new element. And a few of our guys dressed up as well.
I did
and there's some theatre. So let's make sure we watch this on YouTube if you have the ability to do that. All right, Chris Hall, it goes back to you as the pick in.
The pick's in, mate.
Here we
He's excited. Look at him. Look at the smile on his face. That's Dos I'm talking about, let
No,
alone Hawley.
I'm just
The
waiting
New
to
England
see what he-
Patriots to be introduced by Nicholas Litzter. And thanks for doing this at last notice, Nick. Great job.
With the number 4 pick in the 2025 Outback QB mock draft, the New England Patriots select
Will Campbell.
Oh, he's
tackle,
starting
LSU.
Will
Campbell.
It hurts me, fellas. It really hurts me, but
Gutless.
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 Mate, we ranked 32nd in run block last year, 31st in pass block. It's a crying need.
Yeah.
He'll sit at left tackle. He'll protect Drake May for the next decade. He's the franchise guy. He's protecting the franchise quarterback. Ashton is the exciting prospect. Ashton, Tyler Warren, I would love to see them in a Pats jersey, but from a longevity point of view and for the sake of the team, Will Campbell is the smart choice. Now, he is old, T-Rex arms, shortest arms in the NFL as a starting tackle. Read into that what you want, but he has.
Is that true? He will have the shortest arms in the whole NFL.
I believe so.
Wow. Yeah.
In terms of for a tackle.
32 inches. So
I don't think anyone's
short
been drafted.
for a starting left tackle.
I don't think anyone's been drafted in top 10 with under 34-inch arms, something like that. Anyway, he allowed 5 total sacks across 2,500 snaps in his college career. He went on a 24-game streak, not allowing a single sack. So he's a genuine player, fellas, and I think the Pats will be very lucky to have him protecting Drake May.
Well done, Chris. I'm proud of you. It's mature. If you told me 24 hours ago that you would not have taken Genty for the Pats, I really thought that's where you were going to go to shake up the draft and try and steal it from Doss and the Raiders.
I didn't
at
want
6.
to cop all the abuse from our listeners.
Well, no, it's a good pick. I mean, I think it is the best pick for this team because we've always spoken about the luxury of the running back, and that's your final piece. It's the Barkley to Philadelphia's roster, you know. So do they need a Genty now or do they need a Will Campbell? The only thing with Campbell is a couple of technical things, a couple of raw aspects. He's the most talented tackle in the draft, according to all the experts, but he's the most raw talent in the draft, and that means there's a little bit to develop still. Massive frame though, 6'6", 323 pounds, big boy, good college record. Is he ready to step in straight away and be a really productive tackle? I don't know how long it'll take him to get to the level, Doss.
So when people have looked at the offensive linemen in this draft, specifically the tackles, right now there is no one at Joe Alt's level who went pick 5 last year for the Chargers. There was no one on Joe Alt's level in this draft and that talent. So that gives you an idea.
Campbell can get there. His ceiling's huge. He just needs a bit more development than Alt, right?
I just don't expect him to come in and have the impact that and play as well as what Joe Alt played for the Chargers as a rookie.
Yep.
Because he's not Joe Alt.
Still, I like the pick. I like the pick a lot.
Yeah, and it's a desperate need. Hawley mentioned some stats. There's, running backs for the Patriots were contacted behind the line of scrimmage on 51% of their carries last year. That's
wowzers.
That's at rank 28.
That's
this is the other thing. Like, Ramondre may actually bounce back if he's got a decent O-line.
Well, that's it. You've got a guy like this. I mean, like we said, he might not impact straight away, but if you have guys running behind him, you're going to turn your runners into better running backs. That means Ramondre comes out and he can go 4.5 yards a carry if he's got a good line, 5 yards a carry. But with the line that he had, even if you throw Ashton Genty in there, he's still going to struggle because there's no holes to run through.
Okay, now that's the first 4 picks. Doss is ready for his first pick. He's
Now
got
we get
the next
excited.
2. In fact, he's got the Jags and the Raiders. The Jags are interesting. Wide receiver, tight end, defensive interior, safety. They're 4 places they could go.
The first 4 picks were straightforward.
Yours started to get a bit more complicated, but now it's a complete mixed bag. And just some of the names on the board for those playing along at home, we've still got Tet McMillan. No wide receivers gone yet. Nobody in the DI has gone yet, Mason Graham. No running back, Ashton Genty. We've got cornerbacks, Jahdae Barron. We've got Will Johnson. We've got some big boys on the defense as well. So Doss is the pick in.
Pick is in.
I don't think I'll ever get sick of that sound effect. I love it so much. All right, introducing the Jacksonville Jaguars, Timmy Bratoni.
And with the number 5 pick in the 2025 Outback QB mock draft, the Jacksonville Jaguars select.
Mason Graham, defensive
Okay,
tackle,
Zach.
Michigan.
That's a good pick. It's a good pick, Doss. Tell us why.
Well, this offseason for Jacksonville has been all substance and not a lot of flash, really. The last 2 off-seasons spent a lot of money on free agency. This is the year that they look to the draft. They hit with Brian Thomas Jr. at wide receiver last year in the draft, and I think they will hit and should hit with Mason Graham on this pick. It's building the trenches, Kurt.
Yep.
It's been an issue, both sides of the ball, off O-line and D-line for Jacksonville. Isn't the biggest physical standout at his position Mason Graham in this draft, but he's been the most productive and the most consistent interior defender. No red flags outside of, again, allegedly shorter than average arms for a defensive tackle.
Let's move on from that.
But
I'm so sick of hearing
Apparently his
that.
pinky finger's half an inch short.
And Travis
You know,
Hunter has tiny calves, so he might be bad too.
last season, 45 tackles, 7 for loss, 3.5 sacks, 3 QB hurries, a blocked field goal in there, and 10th amongst interior linemen in 2024 for pressures in college football, and a 21.5% true pass rush win rate for
Which is high.
Mason Graham, which is high.
If you're
So,
above 20, you're flying.
yeah, so logical pick. The edges, I'm all right. Trayvon Walker, they have.
Yep.
Josh Hines-Allen, we're good with them. Let's shore up the interior. James Gladstone, first draft as GM, coming across from LA Rams. Integral part over there for drafting Jared Verse, Kobe Turner, Braden Fisk.
Yeah, true.
So
He's built that D-line. That's a good point.
I mean, Les Snead had the
Yeah,
final call, but
sure.
he's obviously an integral part of that. So I like this pick, and I think that's where Jacksonville go on drafting.
You know what I love about Mason Graham is that his production, his output every year has just gotten steadily better. Whatever metric you look at, whether it's sacks, pressures, win rate.
And we
overall.
like it when it's consistent over 2 or 3 years of college production, not just
Correct.
the one standout year.
And he's played more snaps every year as well. So
Yeah.
if you were to write down a textbook progression from raw college prospect to complete and ready to be drafted, Mason Graham has that all on paper.
Yeah.
Great pick. Love it. All right. The next one, the pick for the Las Vegas Raiders. Now, this is a complete lottery as well because we know they got holes, boy. To be introduced by James Patterson.
How are we, Raiders fans? With the 6th pick in the 2025 Outback QB mock draft, the Las Vegas Raiders select
Ashton Genty,
Hey!
running
He's
back,
off the board.
Boise State. Runner-up in the Heisman to Travis Hunter, much to our good friend here, Chris Hall's chagrin. Consistently put up massive production week after week for the Broncos,
Nice.
both yardage and touchdowns. His skill set aligns well with the Raiders' offensive scheme. Chip Kelly, new offensive coordinator. Pete Carroll had Marshawn Lynch for a long time in Seattle. Values running backs who can contribute in multiple ways. Genty, he's a pass catcher, not just a true runner. He can make defenders miss all over the place. A great asset. He's a shorter, thicker Alvin Kamara for a bit of a, in terms of stature. And his explosive speed, once he's into the backfield, he's away. And just that playmaking ability will just help the Raiders, who struggled so much running the ball last year. I know they got Raheem Mostert in free agency as sort of a veteran one-year signing, but McCormick and Zamir White have not shown enough, fellas, and this offense has struggled to put any sort of consistent production up, and Genty will help that. And is leading the running back revolution, along with what we saw this year from Derrick Henry and Saquon Barkley.
There has been a little bit on him in terms of playing in the Mountain West, saying he didn't come up against a lot of big SEC defenders and these guys that are 4 or 5 star recruits. He's playing against a lot of 3-star recruits, but I think if you watch him in a lot of these games, and especially the Oregon game, so you had a Boise State who was playing against Oregon, who were ranked number 1 in the nation for pretty much 90% of the year. He still came out with 192 carries at 7.7 yards a carry and 3 TDs. So he's playing behind 3-star offensive linemen against 5-star defensive backs, and he's taken them for almost 8 yards a carry and 3 TDs. So he's the real deal, Dos. The Raiders aren't going to be disappointed in Ashton Genty. It's just a matter of how they use him and how they make use of him, because with Ashton Genty, Brock Bowers, those two are a pretty dynamic little duo.
It's a good pick. 2,595 yards for Genty. Enormous. Ridiculous numbers. 4,500 yards more than on the ground in college.
And he's playing against
crazy
stacked
stuff.
boxes. Like he hit the back half of his season, he was running against stacked boxes. Like the start of his season, Kurt, his first 5 games, 13.5 yards a carry, 7.7 against the number 1 team in the nation, 11.5 yards a carry, 10 yards a carry, 14.5 yards a carry. And in 2 of those games, he was benched at halftime.
Yeah, they kept pulling him out.
They kept pulling him out.
I mean, YPC that's our favorite stat when we're looking at fantasy, right? Who produces in college versus the NFL. He's 6.9 last year for the whole year, and that's after teams started to figure him out.
Or that's when they stacked the box. They just
Ridiculous.
stacked it. They had 6, 7, 8 guys there. They wouldn't let him run, and he's still going at over 6, 7, 8 yards a carry. So I'm really excited to see him in the NFL.
All right, boys. My nerves have just started to kick in because I've got the New York
This
Jets.
is starting to impact the New Orleans Saints now.
To be introduced by Ben Taylor.
It's time! Coming to you from my lounge room whilst my kids stare at me wondering what the heck I am doing. Introducing now, fighting out of the Big Apple, weighing in with expectations of the island of Manhattan, holding a professional record the fan base would rather forget, and looking to break the curse of Broadway Joe. Presenting the 7th round pick in the 2025 Outback QB mock draft, the New York Jets. 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 Select
Tet McMillan, wide receiver, Arizona. Now, boys, this is my first pivot of the draft.
I wasn't expecting that.
It's my first pivot of the draft because I thought 2 teams may have taken him already. On my notes, I had a different position. I had a tackle. I was going tackle. But when I saw Tet still there and I thought of the fragility behind Garrett Wilson and the ability for those two to combine and the talent that is Tet, and I've watched a bit of Tet recently, and I am a Tet believer. I know, Doss, you're not huge on him, and you would have thought he was a reach at 4 for the Pats. I don't know what you think.
I think he's a reach. I think he's a reach at 7 for the Jets.
He's gone everywhere.
Yeah.
All these mock drafts in the last few months have had him at 4. I saw him yesterday at like 23 or 24. It's all over the place.
Now, what I love about Tet, I love he's a smooth mover. He's got perfect, prototypical build.
I love the pick.
You do love it? You like it?
Paulie would love
Mate,
it.
Chase Higgins, it's got it written all over it.
He's a route runner. He's a well. That's
With
sort of
Justin Fields throwing the ball to him.
I know.
Not
I
year
know.
one.
And also, are we that worried about protecting Fields? Let's protect our next quarterback. We can
he's
get a
just
tackle
gonna
later on.
scramble and run for his life.
But look, he's a smooth mover. He's got great football nous. He's a good route runner. There are a couple of question marks about his slender build, but I think he's a guy that can still go up and take a contested catch. His speed is good without being elite, Doss. That's one thing when you think about separation and him going as a deep threat. But he's a guy, when you watch him on tape, there's something uncanny about Ted. He can take one-handers. He can take things almost behind his back. The control of his body in the air is something that I love in a receiver, and he's got it. It's almost Garrett Wilson-like, right? So whether they become a conflict together, who knows? It could be disastrous, but I'm hoping they complement each other. I was going to take a tackle, but I saw Tet there, and I'm going for it.
Was an ideal size for an outside receiver. You mentioned his dimensions before. His physical presence, can create mismatches against those smaller defensive backs, fellas, and I think he can, play both in the slot and also as the X receiver. And it gives the Jets a bit more versatility to use him in different formations and schemes. So we'll see how that looks.
Mm-hmm.
There's a whole lot of new going on for the New York Jets this upcoming season. Aaron Glenn coming in as defensive coordinator. As head coach.
Yep.
Apologies. So they got a lot of new personnel there, as well as a new quarterback in Justin Fields. So it'll be interesting to see how that would look. I don't think he'll end up going there, but I like your thinking.
Well, they have met with him this week.
Oh, okay.
They met with him. There is certainly interest there.
It makes that offense very scary. If you've got Wilson, Tet, and then a Breece Hall.
Minus Fields.
They just need a quarterback who can throw. But it does remind me
and a tackle, damn it.
It does.
And an O-line. But,
I mean, Joe Burrow didn't have an O-line for a long time. He's had Chase and Higgins. And he's
Joe
still...
freaking Burrow.
Well, that's the
why.
thing. So they need a quarterback.
Yeah.
But if they can get a quarterback and you've got those three guys, it's a very scary team.
Yeah. Oh, and by the way, I had a note saying I'm not into Sanders. So I know that some people would want a quarterback at the Jets beyond Fields, but I'm not doing that. Same with the Giants. I'm not taking Sanders there either. All right. What do we got? Carolina, which is Doss. Is the pick in, Doss?
Pick is in.
To be introduced by Darcy Williams.
With the 8th pick in the 2025 Outback QB mock draft, the Carolina Panthers select.
Jalen Walker, linebacker.
With the 8th pick in the 2020.
Sorry, it's repeating. You go, Doss.
Jalen Walker, linebacker for Georgia.
Darcy was so excited he had to say it twice.
He was. To me, he is a blue chip talent, fellas. I think he's one of the, and due to positional needs ahead of the Panthers in this draft, he could go a lot higher. Had more defense needed at the top. And we see how many Georgia Bulldog defensemen go on to have significant impacts at the NFL level. 60 tackles, 11 for loss, 6.5 sacks last season, 2 pass breakups, 13 QB hurries as a full-time starter. That is production, and we like to see that production in college, and that usually translate into pretty good production at the NFL level. And the Carolina Panthers, look, they've got holes on both sides of the ball. They got a terrible pass rush, but let's be honest.
Yeah.
And Walker, despite the fact that he's a little undersized, electric speed though off the line, intensity rating and demeanor off the edge, and he can play. Kurt, and you spoke about off-ball linebackers before.
Yep.
He can play both as an off-ball linebacker and as a situational pass rusher, which is why I like Jalen Walker and why I think he's an excellent talent. You can let Walker hunt for opposition quarterbacks on that third down or that passing play, and he will cook. I think
it's a smart pick.
I think he's got the Pro Bowl linebacker written all over him.
The only question I ask is, because there's a debate between him and Jahad Campbell from Alabama, the other linebacker who's rated highly. Did you have any debate between the two? Were you thinking about Campbell?
I'm going. Well, he was my
Your backup?
second. Yeah, he was my backup. Oh, I had an edge after in case Walker might have been taken a little earlier on.
Okay.
But I just love Jalen Walker. I think he's a star.
I like it. Smart pick. Smart pick. And it takes us now to the New Orleans Saints at pick 9. Now, normally we get our boy Jackie Grant to send this through. It didn't happen. There's always things that sometimes get in the way with this. So what we're going to do is just have a moment of silence as we await the 9th pick, because we don't have a clip to introduce it. And I thought, out of respect for Saints fans, it's been a tough little while, so let's just give them 5 seconds to reflect on, the team when they were good all those years ago with Drew Brees.
Do I just say the pick when I feel like the time's up?
I'll let you know.
Okay.
Just a moment of silence for Saints fans.
Thanks, mate.
Is the pick in?
Yeah, the pick's in. Oh, I won't drink.
Go for it.
Say it.
Yep, 9th pick, Saints.
Armand Membao, tackle Missouri.
He's gone Membu.
Membu.
Ooh, okay.
Membao. I mean, it's a topic.
However you want to say it. I've gone the
Gee
tackle.
whiz. Did you expect that, Dos?
No,
Neither did I.
kind of wrecked what I had.
I love it because he wanted Membu later.
Yeah.
Good.
I figured Doss was waiting. I wanted... We'll go through why I didn't pick some other guys first.
Please.
Sanders, quarterback. Taking a quarterback top 10, Sanders. I'm just not sold on him yet. As I said to Doss on the drive up here, because we had a couple hours to get out here. 13 and 11. A starter who's gone 13 and 11 for me can't be a top 10 pick in the draft. If you're the quarterback, you're leading a team, and you're 13 and 11 in your career as a...
Good enough to retire the jersey.
It's good enough to retire the jersey. Well, that's interesting. But for me, that's not someone that you go and spend pick 9 on, especially you've still got Derek Carr in the sheds. Okay, he's had his injury woes. Derek Carr, we've spoken about him a lot. He's not a world beater. We don't know how long he's out for. And this is the other thing. As the GM, I should know how long Derek Carr is sitting out, but we don't have that information available to it. If they come out and said, yeah, Carr's done for the year, then maybe they do pull the trigger and take Sanders because they think, all right, we need a quarterback. He's here. Let's have a crack. If Carr's out for a month, then I see no reason in taking Sanders, unless they really, really like Sanders. But personally, I don't really, really like him. So I'm not pulling the trigger at 9 to grab him.
Yep.
The other one I liked was Tyler Warren. I just keep thinking of that Brock Bowers model with the Raiders, how well he played. To have a guy like Tyler Warren there, if it is Derek Carr throwing him the ball, if it's a rookie quarterback next year, you got Chris Olave, Tyler Warren. I don't know how long Kamara's got left, but that's a nice little offense for a rookie quarterback to walk into, or a nice offense with Derek Carr to have. Now, the reason I went to tackle is it Ryan Ramczyk, Dos?
Ramczyk?
Yeah,
Ramczyk.
retired.
He obviously blew his knee out 2023, missed all of last year. He's officially retired now. Armand will slot straight into that right tackle spot. And again, obviously they drafted Talisi left tackle. Those two can sit there now for the next decade and protect whichever quarterback they hopefully draft next year.
I like that. So, sorry to interrupt, but that was my original thinking with the Jets model. Fashanu one side and then and other tackle on the right side. So I can see your blueprint here.
Yeah, I think it's the smart option. Same with the Pats pick. I can't see Carr being the long-term fix for the Saints. So next year, if they do draft a quarterback, then they've got these two guys ready to go, and they can fill that interior. However, they need to fill it maybe in free agency next year or try to develop someone else they have. But for me, that was the smartest pick for the Saints.
Pick.
It's boring, but it's smart.
And look, he's had an incredible record in college, Membu, as well. I mean, he didn't allow a sack or a hit this year in 827 snaps.
Yeah.
So you've got a ready-made tackle there. Dos, are we seeing Chris Hall mature in front of our very eyes? He's knocked back Ashton Genty when he could have taken him, and now he's taken a tackle that we didn't expect.
He's gone 2 O-linemen, which I didn't.
It's amazing. He's gone.
I wanted to work this draft so I could purely take offensive players, exciting ones. And now I went through who I actually had, and I'm like, man, I've taken like 2.
Trevor Penning at right tackle,
Yeah.
who the Saints took 3 years ago with pick 19.
Which has not worked.
No, it hasn't been all that successful, which... So I'd be, if the Saints, if Member was still available for the Saints, be interesting to see.
I
don't mind the logic behind it. Membu could also play guard as well.
Yep.
So Penning could potentially start, and then Hawley, your boy Membu, could be play at guard on the right there for a year, and then kick out to tackle, depending on how Penning goes. Whether he's be a free agent at the end of next season, whether he's still there or not, be another story. So yeah, don't mind it. O-line depth is always important.
It is. It is indeed. Now, Dos, speaking of, depth, this is a team that doesn't have much of it. That's the Chicago Bears at pick 10. And it is introduced
Dos
by
time
Tom.
now. Next 3
It is
picks,
Dos
big
time.
fella.
Yeah, next. I'm not on till 16. I'm just taking a break. Pick in. All right, and this one is introduced by Tom.
With the 10th pick in 2025 Outback QB Podcast Mock Draft, the Chicago Bears select.
I love that he just kept it in.
That's good. Tyler Warren, tight end.
Oh,
Yeah,
okay.
I like it.
Penn State.
Brilliant
Okay,
pick.
he's gone.
Hawley's pumped him up, so I'm not going to talk too much more about Tyler Warren, but the best tight end in the draft, or at least the most complete, I think, in this draft. Exceptional versatility, can play as, he excels as both a receiver and a blocker. Huge year for Penn State this year for Tyler Warren, right? 1,233 receiving yards, 12 touchdowns, 104 catches. We've spoken, Kurt, a couple of weeks ago that you're a little concerned that he's only done it for, as a stand-up for that one season, but he was their offense last season and carried it, and, understand that the Bears have got Cole Kmet under contract.
Yeah, I was going to ask that question.
Well, he's under contract through 2027, but they can actually save money by moving on at the end of this season from Cole Kmet.
Okay.
So out of that,
He's not the guy, though.
No,
Cole Kmet's
of course
not.
not.
He's an above-average tight end.
He's okay.
He's okay. I think Tyler Warren, if
could
he's
be a game
available,
changer.
he would come in for the Bears quite nicely and provide a nice little addition to a Bears offense that is starting to take shape. They address the O-line in free agency. Ben Johnson comes in. I'm sure if Genty was there that he would absolutely take him because we've seen the success that he had in Detroit with running backs. But he's not in this case. So I've gone with Tyler Warren and given Ben Johnson another offensive weapon and Caleb Williams one to work with for the 2025 season and beyond.
Huge numbers, 1,230 yards, 8 touchdowns last year. And when I said concern about only 1 year of output, that was if there is a knock, that is it. I'm not particularly concerned. I think he's a very good player. But that's the top 10. All right, I didn't expect that.
Was
I
that
actually
your
didn't
original
expect him.
pick? Sorry, Kurt, was that your
Yeah, did
original
it change?
pick, Dos?
No, I had Membu.
Yeah.
So. You took him the one before. Well done.
Because the Bears free agency signings, there's a couple of vet free agency, there's a couple of vet signings in there that I'm not 100% sold on.
Yep.
So the Bears O-line, we could get to November, December and go back or have a look back and go, oh, they signed these guys? Yeah, that's just so that's why I had Membu as my first pick. But yeah, Warren was second.
All right, let's recap the top 10 because we're 10 through already. Well, I say already, it's been 40 minutes. Pick 1, Tennessee, Cam Ward. 2, the Browns, Travis Hunter. 3, the Giants, Abdul Carter. 4, the Pats, Will Campbell. 5, the Jags, Mason Graham. 6, Ashton Genty to the Raiders. 7, the Jets, Tet McMillan, the first wide receiver. 8, linebacker Jalen Walker goes to Carolina. 9, the Saints, Armon Membu. And 10, Tyler Warren, the tight end, goes to the Chicago Bears. Dos, you're on the clock again for the San Francisco 49ers. To be introduced by Sarah.
The 49ers enter the draft with one of the NFL's most stacked rosters. Think Thanos collecting Infinity Stones. Quarterback drama? Yes, indeed. Elite defense? Absolutely. Shanahan's ancient scroll of a playbook? Of course. With Bosa wrecking offenses and McCaffrey starring in his own highlight reel, this draft is less about need and more about flexing. With pick 11 in the Outback Quarterback Mock Draft, the San Francisco 49ers select
Will Johnson, corner, Michigan.
Okay, let's go.
Okay.
I feel like she sent that clip through from 2023. I'm not sure. Go, Dos.
I think she's being a touch facetious. I like Sarah. That's excellent.
Good theatre.
49ers taking a corner back here in the first round for the first time in the Shanahan, John Lynch era. And Will Johnson has that lockdown corner potential, fellas. After Shavarius Ward left in free agency, the 49ers are a little thin for top-end talent and cornerback, people scoff at. It's a premium position in the NFL, right? This is top. If you get your corners right and your secondary right, you're in good stead. John Lenore had his best season. We didn't chop him up too much this season because there was no need for it. Yeah, we held back. Ronaldo Green, first season in the league was okay, but Will Johnson has the potential, I think, to be better than both of these guys, fellas. And I know he missed time last season, had the toe injury at Michigan, but the talent is there. Big, 6'2", gets up, ball skills show up in the box scores all the time. Had 9 interceptions over his career at Michigan, 2 pick sixes last season. I just think it makes sense to address. And I thought about D-line here as a big need as well.
Yep.
But, geez, I'd like to see them just tighten up in their secondary because they gave up a lot of big plays last season.
Passer ratings allowed across Will Johnson's career year by year. 66, 30, 52. This guy knows how to lock down.
You like him over Jada Barron?
I do just.
He's just a little bit bigger. That was I probably had him 1 and Barron 2 purely on the size factor, I think.
Barron's flown up the board.
He has.
He's flown up the board. But you've always been a Will Johnson man, Doss. You've said
Michigan.
that for... you can't go past
Wolverine
Michigan.
bias might have come in a bit there.
All right, now this is a pick I'm excited about because I don't know what's happening with this roster, and I love that Doss has to pick for the Dallas Cowboys. Now, we've got a couple of submissions here. The first one is to be introduced by our boys, or at least one of them. The other two were busy, at Cowboys Can Fan. Now, if you haven't subscribed to Cowboys Can Fan, Doss, we're not Cowboys guys, but that is a fun pod, and that is on YouTube. It's a live stream. I was on it a few weeks ago.
Yeah.
2 hours felt like 30 minutes because it was fun, and they were insulting me and laughing at me, and I was insulting them and laughing at them, and it was just a good show. So tune into Cowboys Can
They ripped
Fan.
you in
if you
here for
haven't.
being a Chiefs fan.
They did, and rightly so. But here they are.
I mean, they've had 30 years of heartache as Cowboys fans.
Oh, and that's their shtick. They let loose on that show. So
28 years.
This is the Cowboys Can Fan.
How now, brown cow? How now, brown cow? Have you hit record yet? How now, brown cow? How now, brown cow? Okay, tell me when I'm ready. With the 12th pick of the 2025 Outback QB mock draft, the Dallas Cowboys are going to... Wait a second, guys. What do you want to do? Oh, shit, they're not with me. We're going to trade back. We're going to trade back with Seattle. We're going to take Omarion Hampton. We're going to get a 3rd pick. We're going to draft some offensive linemen. And we're going to win the Super Bowl, baby. Super Bowl, Super Bowl, Super Bowl, Super Bowl.
Okay, now this happens every year. We inevitably get one clip where they make the selection for us. So we got Aussie as the backup. I love the enthusiasm, but Aussie did follow the remit a little closer than Cowboys Can Fan.
With the next pick in the 2025 NFL Draft, America's team, the Dallas Cowboys, select
Matthew Golden, wide receiver.
Oh,
Texas.
Golden already. Okay, Doss.
Okay.
Skillful receiver. I'm big on Golden.
You love Golden.
I think he's better than Tet McMillan, fellas.
Wow.
He's highlight reel catches, explosive plays down the field. He was the Texas go-to receiver in 2024, started all 16 games for the Longhorns, led the team in receiving yards.
Never cracked 1,000 yards in college.
No, 987 yards, 9 touchdowns.
Okay, that's good.
Second in receptions, 58, fellas. And I think he's a perfect number 2 to CeeDee Lamb. Going into next season.
He's spending pick 12 on a number 2 wide receiver.
Their wide receiver room
Tet's
is
number 2.
Tet's a number 2.
He'll be better than Garrettman every year.
Oh, I don't know about
That's
that.
not true. I realized the error of my ways when I said that.
Jeez, the boy.
Keep going,
Rough
mate.
call. Wide receiver room is very thin.
Sure.
In Dallas. It has been for a while. Really, probably since Amari Cooper was traded out a few years ago now.
Yep.
Dynamic playmaker, lining up both outside and in the slot. He's really quick off the line, and I just think it's a nice fit for the Dallas Cowboys.
You know the question I have about Golden, and he's good, right? He's really good. But I think he's good at a lot of things, but what's the thing that he's incredible at? Is he just a good, well-rounded receiver, or has he got an eye-popping trait that you go, that's our boy?
Really reminds me of the up-and-coming Terry McLaurin. Just all-round.
You got that early on.
All-round
You got
talent.
that early on a mid-receiver, Doss.
All-round talent.
Okay. Well, I mean, that's the reason. If he's a Terry lookalike.
I'm all for that kind of pick. I love to see an offense just grow, and a CD with a Golden. Oh, it will be sexy to watch.
Oh, yeah.
But
you're not sure of it?
No, I'm okay with it. Yeah,
Is
I like it.
If I'll ask you this question, Hawley. If you were to take a receiver for the Cowboys, would it have been Golden, or would you have gone
I
elsewhere?
think I've had Tet as the number one guy.
Oh no, but in this scenario, Tet's off the
Yeah,
ball.
I've had Tet as the number one guy, and then after that, I don't have a guy.
A jumble.
Yeah, it's I feel like there's 3 or 4 that can kind of just you can take either of them, and it's probably not going to matter.
All right, Dos. That's your streak of picks. You've gone Warren, Johnson, Golden. Hawley, you are up with the Miami Dolphins. Now we only have one celebrity this year, and it's a guy who sung a song, Dos, that you would have liked back in 1997 called Miami. Who was the rapper that released Miami back in 97? Can you remember? He's recently returned to rapping, and he's been in the headlines over recent years for bad reasons at the Golden Globes. Talking of one Will Smith.
Oh, Will Smith. Oh, sorry. Shiraz is starting to kick in.
Here's Will Smith to introduce the Miami.
Keep my draft pick's name out your mouth. With the 13th pick, the Miami Dolphins select
Jada Barron, cornerback.
Okay. Ooh, very nice. Another sensible pick.
Jade.
So what I wrote here in my draft prep was with the news about Jalen Ramsey, they're going to be left with quite a hole at corner. Will Johnson is the best cornerback in the draft, and he will go a long way to filling that hole. Unfortunately, Will Johnson is not available anymore. So I've had to go with my boy Jada, which I'm okay with. And as we discussed earlier, Dos, with San Fran, I had Will Johnson slightly ahead of Barron, mainly because of the size.
You know what, Hawley? I said sensible pick before. I'm actually not okay with this pick at all. I think this is a bad one.
I just think you didn't want to go a third O-lineman.
I think so. And he definitely needed to.
If
That's
Ramsey-
the glaring need.
Oh, now Ramsey's gone as well. There's glaring
Well, he
needs.
hasn't left yet.
Well,
Could be a draft day trade.
he's probably out the door. They do have a few holes.
They certainly have holes.
They do need to protect.
They will trade Ramsey.
They do need to protect Tua, but being the GM, my plan was to take Barron now, replace Ramsey, and then we'll go to the guard later on in the draft.
Yeah,
that's where I'm not just ignoring it.
Sure.
I'm just going next.
I know
round.
we're just doing one round. I know there's a lot more in the real draft, but I look at Barron, and to me, he was my favorite corner. I mean, he had 5 picks, didn't concede a touchdown last year. Passer rating of 34. He's a great zone guy. If you find him in a zone defense like the Rams, he would fit in amazingly. I was hoping that somehow it would fall that low, but pretty unlikely. But I just worry about the O-line. We've done it to death with Miami. I think there are some options there. Maybe a couple of reaches at pick 13, but I don't think it's a reach when you're trying to protect Tua. So that's what really worries me there. Their defensive interior too needs some work, and there's a few guys maybe you could take. But I love Barron as a player. I think he'll fit in nicely there, but Interesting one. All right, are you up next, Hawley?
It's me.
It's Dos with the Colts. How do you feel? Are you unsure of the pick, or are you happy with it?
I'm fine with it.
Fine with it? Okay. Sometimes I have pick regret. I was just wondering if you did too. You know, like meal regret when you order something at dinner and then it comes out and you go,
Your judgment on my pick means nothing to me.
I was just asking you. I wasn't
faze me.
judging. I was asking you.
It's all right. He'll just sook about it on the way home.
Well, I won't.
No, you won't.
No, you definitely won't.
No, you won't.
To
You're
introduce the
just-
Indianapolis Colts, we've got Taz Garanitis.
With the 14th pick in the Outback quarterback mock draft, the Indianapolis Colts select
Colston Loveland, tight end,
Like it.
Michigan.
Darn it, all the heck. That's
Yeah.
not what I wanted to happen.
No, it might not have been. It's what I wanted to happen because the Colts need more playmaking in the passing game from the tight end position. Colston Loveland's going to fill that. He's a very nice player.
Good player.
Colston Loveland. Go-to in the Michigan offense last season. Exceptional receiving abilities. Can create separation, which makes him a reliable target for your boy, Anthony Richardson Hawley. 582 receiving yards, 5 touchdowns. And the Colts, they struggled with tight end production in 2024. No tight end compiled more than 200 receiving yards. That was Mo Alley Cox and Kyle Granson. They did bring back Mo Alley Cox last week. I don't really know why. But Kylan Granson, he left in free agency. So their tight end depth chart's looking pretty thin.
Yep.
It's either Warren or Loveland or on Friday, I think, fellas, on draft day for the Colts, depending on who's there. But has to be a tight end. And they just need a dynamic, reliable tight end to support that Shane Steichen offense.
Yes, that certainly reshapes a couple of picks later on. I think I was surprised at Warren going to the Bears. I thought Warren was going to the Colts. I thought that's what was going to happen. But now the second best tight end's there, and there's not an obvious other first-round tight end either. So, interesting. Hawley, you're back up with the Atlanta Falcons.
Yep. Picks in, mate.
Thanks, mate. To be introduced by Sam Clark. Do I need to stop playing the sound effect now?
No, you're right.
Rise up, dirty birds! And hey, all you Saints fans, sit down and shut up because you're about to see a guy selected who's going to stomp all over your organisation twice a year for the next decade. With the 18th pick in the 2025 Outback QB mock draft, the Atlanta Falcons select...
Pick 15, but it will be Mike Green, edge.
I love this pick.
So Falcons were 31st in the league for sacks last year. Mike Green led all of college football with 17 sacks last year. I think it's a pretty easy fit, right, fellas?
Mm-hmm. Mate, his production's insane.
Yeah,
you look at the
nuts.
production of Mike Green over the years. Yes. He had 32 hurries last year. His PFF grades, everything's dark blue. Literally everything this guy could be good at. Pass rush grade, run defense grade, true pass rush grade, whatever that is. Doss knows what that is. I don't know what it is. Pass rush win rate, run stop win rate. Everything about this guy was dominant. Yes, Marshall, who were his opponents, they were pretty good. He played Ohio State and a few other good teams as well. A lot of the others that he played weren't fantastic. So that's the one question about Green. Can he produce against good opposition outside of Ohio State? But you look at those numbers, you look at the guy, he's a beast.
22 and a half tackles for loss, second only behind Abdul Carter, 3 forced fumbles as well. Second team All-American. He's just a production machine, Mike Green. And we spoke about the Atlanta Falcons, desperate draft needs, and I said, it's got to be on the pass rush. Got to draft defense. If not, Terry Fontenot be out the door in probably a few months' time. But I like the pick, Hawley. Nailed it.
Thanks, mate.
Okay, I've got the Arizona Cardinals.
It's starting to get a little bit tricky.
Do you think Kurt's
he's hurting.
Yeah, he's hurting.
He's hurting.
I'm sweating.
Yeah.
I'm actually sweating.
He's hurting.
I am hurting because I don't know what
I'll
to
just
do.
update my little PFF big board here, Kurt.
The pick is not in yet.
TikTok.
There are plenty.
TikTok.
There are plenty of options, and what's confusing me here with the Cardinals is the multiple needs. Doss. I mean, there are needs everywhere, and
Well, it's almost not like I've got Cincy coming up. I can just close my eyes and take a defensive player. They'd fit.
Yes, but
Cards are almost
the same. You think
in a similar boat? You could take anyone.
Almost the
They'll find a
same
spot for
needs
them.
as Cincinnati.
almost, but not quite.
Oh, okay.
To introduce the 16th pick is our travelling fan, Noah Hill.
Hello, this is Noah from Coffs Harbour. Before we get started, I'd like to dedicate this pick not only to the Outback quarterback boys, but specifically to Dom and the Shaler brothers. They took me under their wing after the live show and made sure I had an awesome night in the great city of Adelaide, and specifically that I was hungover for my flight the very next morning. With that said and done, it's my honour to announce that with the 16th pick in the Outback quarterback mock draft, the mighty Arizona Cardinals select
Emeka Ibuka, wide receiver, Ohio State. Now, I have thought about this for a long time. He's a guy I have a great feeling about. He's a guy who there is massive draft fatigue over because 3 years ago he was highlighted as one of the best players to be in the NFL in future. And over time, other different prospects have overtaken him, but he's continued to put numbers up and he's continued to be a very, very good player for Ohio State. He broke the record, most receptions ever at Ohio State. This guy is a versatile receiver. Not only that, if you look at the Cardinals, there's a sneaky weakness there at wide receiver. Yes, they got Harrison, so we'll lock him in, assuming he turns out. There's Michael Wilson.
He'll be fine.
Well, yeah, I'm assuming he works out. But there's Michael Wilson as the deep threat. Okay, I mean, I know he's in Wilson watch, but he's not the best deep threat in the league.
Hold on, we got to get to the third.
There's Zay Jones is the third name.
What about you?
Dortchy. I'm not
What
putting
about
Greg
Greg
Dortch. Well, they need to upgrade from Greg Dortch.
This is true, they do.
And Emeka Ibuka is a guy that, you know how you just have feelings about some guys? And I've said it about him before. From what I've seen of him, I love him. I can't get enough of watching him play. And I think he is a guy who maybe he's not the exact same player as Jackson Smith and Jigba, but he's got the ability to, over time, become as productive. He played with Marvin Harrison at Ohio State. I'm reuniting those two, and I'm making the Arizona Cardinals offense a serious weapon along with Trey McBride for Kyler Murray. It's a sexy pick. It's maybe a silly pick, but I'm going for it. What do we think?
I thought you might have gone.
It's exciting.
Guard and defensive. I thought you might have gone the interior, Kurt. I must admit, but you haven't. So look, hey, props to you.
Thanks, man. Courage. Getting gutsy.
Get excited to watch some Arizona Cardinals football.
That's right. All right, boys. We've reached the halfway mark of the show, of the draft. Let's just take a little break, freshen up, and we'll be back with the next 16.
Good idea, because I do not know what I'm doing.
That's good to hear that again, just to remind us it's an Outback QB episode. All right, boys, we're halfway through the draft. It's all happening. It is all happening. Who's up next? Holy, you've got your little run here of the ones that you traded in. You traded in for the Bengals. Is the pick in?
Pick's in, yes.
And introducing the Cincinnati Bengals pick is Jaden Francis.
With the 17th pick in the 2025 Outback Quarterback mock draft, the Cincinnati Bengals have selected someone to dick around their contract negotiations in 4 years and then eventually franchise tag.
Oh, that's it. They're ready to go.
Yeah, dot.
Walter Nolan, defensive tackle, Mississippi.
Oh, big Walter.
Big Walter.
Okay, here we go.
He All-American last year, DOS.
Yep.
Number 5 or 5th ranked run stopper in the whole of college football with a grade of 91.7 for Kurt's boys, PFF. He has the size. He's got the size and athleticism that he can probably play multiple positions along that defensive line. So he's not just going to be stuck to one spot, and that's probably what Cincy need at the moment because they have a lot of holes to fill on that defensive side of the ball. So if they can play around with him, find his best spot, they can move him around depending on where other guys' strengths are, then he's someone that is flexible and he will be of good value or great value for that defensive line. So they're crying out. There are other guys they can probably take. I mean, if they wanted to go hard on a safety, they could go early. But I mean, there's linebackers. There's a heap of different defensive players that they could go because their whole defense just needs an upgrade. But I think Walter Nolan is one of the better prospects left in the draft at the moment.
I like it. I like the pick. The D-line was their number one priority in my book, and Trey Hendrickson needs some help. Not only does he need some help from management, he also needs some help on the field from his teammates. So Walter Nolan's a good one. I like that. Any qualms from you there, Dos?
No qualms. Clean injury history. Plays a high percentage of snaps. Walter Nolan. So, which you love. From a rookie. Ole Miss led college football in sacks, TFLs, and overall run defense last year, which Walter Nolan was a big part of. So he would immensely help that very porous Cincinnati D-line next season.
Now, the Seattle Seahawks are coming up next. We know their O-line struggles. Do they need some help elsewhere? We've got an interesting board because Donovan Ezeraku on the edge, James Pierce Jr., Nick Scorton, Shamar Stewart, the combine darling, Michael Williams, Landon Jackson, and then a couple of DIs as well. There's a lot of guys on that D-line that are coming up that could be factors. So where does Hawley go?
It's Dos,
with the
but it's okay.
Oh, sorry, Dos. It is too. And it's to be introduced, don't shake your head, by Chris Kerr.
We may have gotten rid of Geno, Lockett, DK, but with the 18th pick in the 2025 Outback QB mock draft, the Seattle Seahawks select
Tyler Booker, guard.
Oh,
Alabama.
All right.
Main goal for Seattle is to protect your boy, Kurt, Sam Darnold. Offensive tackle's not a big need. And I think they could potentially address that later in the draft. Abe Lucas, Charles Cross, I don't mind them. It's the interior that really needs addressing for me. And Tyler Booker, I think, is the best offensive interior lineman in this draft. And probably one of the safest picks in this draft as well, I think. 6'5", 352 pounds, first team All-American, started 13 games, 13 matches last season, 12 at left guard. Teams up with Charles Cross on the left-hand side. And I just think it just gives Seattle the best chance of protecting Sam Darnold's blindside, gives Kenneth Walker and Zach Charbonnet a chance to break out probably a bit more than what they have. And it's just one less hole in what was a very poor offensive line in 2024. So that's why I've gone with Tyler Booker here.
It's an interesting one because guard is not a position that often gets drafted high. It's not a position in which there are many top-level prospects this year either. Tate Ratledge is probably the next, and he's Georgia and possibly late second, early third round.
Well down.
And if you look at the PFF board, Booker was the 47th player on their board, and average draft position is about 33. And you don't often see that where the fans or the users of the mock draft simulator are taking them higher than the board predicts, right? And that just shows the dearth of guards this year. So they certainly need one. I think he's ready-made. I think the 47th overall rank from PFF is a little harsh on Booker. I like the pick, Dos. It's not what I expected. Didn't think you would go there, but I don't mind it. And that's a real Dos pick. He's searching for Dom Pooney in the rough here. He wants to emulate Hawley's greatness.
Defensive interior, that's what I'm all about.
I reckon he would have been pretty pumped about drafting a guard as well.
Super pumped. Was Tyler Booker in your 32?
I didn't even know. I had to scroll down and who is Tyler Booker?
Don't say that, Hawley. All right. Number 19 is the Tampa Bay Buccaneers to be introduced by Liam Russell. Picks in, I assume.
Picks in, mate. I've already clicked it in.
He's clicked it. Here's Liam.
This next prospect is going to have the absolute privilege of playing with the best running back of this generation, Bucky Irving, as well as this year's future MVP, Baker Reagan Mayfield. And with that being said, with the 19th pick in the 2025 Outback QB mock draft, the Tampa Bay Buccaneers select
Donovan Ezaruka.
Oh, Ezaraku.
Ezaraku. There you go.
right.
Edge, Boston College. 16 and a half sacks last year, boys. Very, very productive. It's going to help out that Tampa Bay Buccaneers defense. The offense is pretty settled. You throw in a guy who just broke Boston College's single season sack record of these 16 and a half sacks, 20 and a half tackles for loss. He wreaks havoc in opposing backfields. So he's someone that the Tampa Bay Buccaneers really need and really need to perform well, because we saw them in a lot of... The offense can keep up, but the defense really struggled. And if they want Baker and the boys, it's a last year, Godwin, Mike Evans, they're getting on a little bit. They want to make use of this high-powered offense, so they need this defense to step up a level. And I think this guy will really help that happen.
Now, they've, in recent years, invested in the first round on the edge with Kalijah Cansey.
Your boy.
Dos,
You like Kalijah.
who hasn't produced a lot. Did come on a little bit towards the end of last year, if I'm not mistaken. But on the other side, they've got Logan Hall, who on your right edge is not a premium talent. They've not got a lot in the interior either. They've signed Hassan Reddick, who will help out with some pass rush. But
Well, he's on a one-year flyer, Reddick, isn't he? Prove
correct.
it deal.
They need a real talent. So I don't mind that pick.
No, I had him hopefully falling a little further than
You wanted Ezra.
Hawley took him, but production, again, Hawley mentioned it, second in college football for sacks at 16 and a half. Slightly undersized for a pass rusher. Some got, 6'2", 248 pounds. To me, that's pretty decent size.
Yep.
And he's got the long arms. He's got the longer arms as Araku, which we know are so coveted in the NFL.
That's right.
Can't have short arms, fellas. We should do our own arm measurement. I got shocking arms and the shoulder mobility. I'll be the smallest. We should do our own.
But don't you do your stretches? That's good mobility for your shoulders, isn't it?
Yeah, but
what's it called? Your ROMWODs?
Yeah, pliability, ROMWODs. I do. But through the hips and stuff, I'm pretty good.
Oh, yeah.
Shoulder mobility is not getting
good.
any. No.
All right. Well,
no matter how much shoulder
take you off the big
stretching and
board.
mobility I do, I can't get the shoulders working.
Now, Hawley, you are up next with the Denver Broncos, and I do need to point out something that's remarkable to me so far. You've had 6 picks, you've taken 2 offensive tackles, and you've taken 4 defensive players. Now, surely, with the Denver Broncos...
I've taken a quarterback as well.
Oh, you took a quarterback. Yeah, but we all knew that was coming. The ones that were really your choice, you haven't done the typical Chris Hall picks. Now, with Denver...
I know exactly where he's going.
Don't worry, fellas. We'll be an offensive player.
Now, Quag almost missed submitting the pick for his intro. He almost missed the deadline.
He was cutting laps. He was doing 400s, he told me.
He was, yes, training hard. Oh, he says he shouted to you over the fence at your gym the other day and scared you.
No. Not at gym.
No, where was it?
Back fence. Because he's renting in the street behind me. So he's lobbing
he
around.
He loves the show, Quag.
Lobbing around, yelling obscenities at me as he runs past.
Always thinking about the pod quack.
Has he got the top on when he's running?
He did when I saw him.
Jealous, yeah. Okay.
Why does he get the rig out?
No, I've seen him with the rig out a couple of times.
And with the 20th pick and the future offensive rookie player of the year in the 2025 Outback QB mock draft, the Denver Broncos select
Amarian Hampton, running back, North Carolina, University of North Carolina.
Mm-hmm.
Now this guy, he's a workhorse, 3-down workhorse. If it wasn't for Ashton Genty, this guy would be getting some huge raps at the moment. There'd be media all over him. Because of Ashton, there isn't. But you look at his last 2 years, Dos, he's had 31.5 or 3,150 yards. He's gone for 30 TDs. Reception-wise, you know what, about 60, 70 receptions in the last 2 years. Not too bad, but he's just a hard runner. He just runs the ball hard. He's evasive. He is going to fit into a Denver Broncos offense now with Bo Nix. Their running back room at the moment is pretty thin in terms of talent. I did think about maybe looking for a wide receiver here. Portland Sutton's there. Marvin Mims, Kurt's boy, hasn't really come on like Kurt hoped he would last year. And I thought pair another wide receiver up with Cortland Sutton, especially because we've only had three taken off the board so far. Two. We've only lost 2 wide receivers so far.
Three. No. Golden, Ibuka, and McMillan. Yep.
Yeah, I thought about a wide receiver, but I think Amarian, he could step in. He's a week 1 starter. He could step in and roll into be one of the top 5 running backs in the league in his first year. So he's a lock for the Denver Broncos.
In his last 2 years, 3,100 yards and 30 touchdowns. And he's got an incredible 4.35 yards after contact.
Well, second best running back in the last decade in yards per carry on runs when hit behind the line of scrimmage.
Crazy. Where was the team? What was the team that had the 51% hit behind the? Was that?
That was the Patriots.
The Patriots, yeah. Get into the Patriots, please.
Well, I had when I was going through this, I had Hampton potentially going, if Warren was going to go earlier, Hampton going to the Bears at
really?
pick 10.
You were going to take Hampton?
I thought about it. Yeah,
he's changed.
I thought about it. Didn't happen.
We've stopped rolls tonight.
Didn't happen.
What's going on? How many of this are
But yeah, Hawley, to your point, he's not as much of a dual threat as maybe some other running backs. Reminds me a little bit of younger Zeke.
Oh.
Bit of Zeke about him. Bit of Brian Robinson. To Hawley's point, 3 down yards.
Brian
Robinson Jr., sorry.
Not as exciting.
Yeah, impressive burst, high motor.
Like it.
I like the pick.
All right.
Pick, smart pick.
That's the 20. Let's go into 21, and that's Hawley with the Steelers. Intriguing pick to be introduced by Jack Belsar.
Down to 1:23 to go on a 2nd and 9. Pickett lines up a deep ball. Separation. Touchdown. George Pickens.
Oh, I'm sorry. I didn't see you there. I was just watching George Pickens, top 10 wide receiver in the league. Anyway, with the 21st pick, your Pittsburgh Steelers select
Shedeur Sanders, quarterback, Colorado.
Oh, he's got it.
There he is, boys.
All right.
He got passed up by the Saints, and luckily he fell down the Steelers. They need a QB. Now, I'm not, as I mentioned earlier, I'm not totally sold on this guy as a top 10 prospect, but I think at 21, he's probably worth a crack for the Steelers. As I mentioned, they don't have a quarterback at the moment. He is someone you can build around. He did show good poise in the pocket. He's got a decent arm. I mentioned his win-loss record isn't fantastic, but again, you can defend that the other way and say, hey, he went to a college in Colorado that struggled for the last decade or so.
I love that you've now
I
love that you've had to now present the counter argument to the argument you put forward earlier in the show.
We're 10 picks later on, so we can work it a little.
30 years of struggle in Colorado.
So you can put that 13 and 11 down to 30 years of struggle in Colorado where they don't have the depth, they don't have the football behind them, and you can say, well, okay, he's turned the college around with his old man.
Yep.
But yeah, I think Steelers at 21, what else they can get at the moment, I think it's worth taking a punt on a quarterback, seeing as, I mean, they just don't have one.
Yeah.
And if they do get one, it's probably Aaron Rodgers who
has about 3 games left.
Yeah, exactly.
Dos, what do you think? I'm torn. I don't really know.
I said here, I've gone, Hawley will take a quarterback or running back here. I thought he may have looked for a running back for replace Najee Harris. But I also wasn't sure if Sanders would be available, and if it wasn't available, I thought Hawley might have gone Jackson Dart.
I wasn't sold on what to do here, and
the tricky pick for Pittsburgh.
Well, because I'm the GM of a few teams, I could make sure that Sanders slipped. And that helped out my overall draft.
Yeah, there's a bit of that. I've been doing that too for a couple of guys. I like it.
Jackson Dart was a guy that I considered, but he went. There was a couple of months ago we talked about him maybe being the second quarterback taken in the draft and going early, and then that all kind of dropped off a little bit. Sanders has been the guy that's consistently, whether it's not, it's because his dad's a high-profile coach, high-profile footballer, and he's always in the media, but he's just there. And a lot of what you read about him is he is a good quarterback. He is posed in the pocket. He's got a strong arm. He makes good decisions. So I just think Pittsburgh, it's worth a crack.
At 21.
At 21, I think it's worth a crack. I don't think top 10 it's worth a shot, but at 21, at top 10, you're still grabbing the best player in their position or close to it. 21, you're probably grabbing the third, fourth in their position, whereas Sanders, you can grab the second quarterback in the draft.
All right, there are some interesting players still left on the board. We'll recap after this one. Pick 22. I'm back in after a long break. The Los Angeles Chargers. To be introduced by good friend Ash Hollick. Well, actually, his kids.
Hi, my name's Archie and Darcy. With the 22nd pick in the 2025 Outback QB mock draft, the Chargers select
James Pierce Jr., edge, Tennessee. Now, I was going to go a tight end because I thought Loveland might still be there because they desperately need it because Will Dissly's their main guy, but they also need help on this D-line, Doss. I know they've got Mack. I know they've got Tuipulotu, who are a couple of pieces that we like, but outside of that, they've got Hand, they've got Matlock, they've got guys that they need to upgrade and make this into a powerhouse. Joey Bosa is a thing of the past. He's gone now. We know that. James Pierce, I really like this guy. A few years ago, well, not even, 12 months ago, he was a possible #1 overall pick, and for various reasons he's slid, but I think he's slid far too far, Doss. He's explosive, twitchy, he's powerful, and when he plays a full year, he produces 43 hurries last year in just 13 games. The year before, he had 13 sacks. Last year was 8 sacks. This guy's a beast. This guy wins off the edge, and I think he is an instant impact in the NFL, and I'm super glad that he's still there on the board for the Chargers because I thought you might nick him earlier. I wasn't sure what you thought of him, but James Pierce from Tennessee, what do you think?
No, I like him. I had him hopefully sliding down a bit further, so that's kind of wrecked one of my picks. A little bit later on, you mentioned the slide maturity issues. Seen him slide a little bit.
Yeah, but Jalen Carter had those too, and look at him now.
He did, and we said the baby rhino would come out in full force, and has.
Yep.
Extremely productive the last 2 seasons in Tennessee, and you only have to watch James Pierce Jr.'s game tape and his film, and you see he's a natural pass rusher. 6'5", 243 pounds, 7.5 sacks last season, getting double-teamed a lot. Makes sense. They need a dynamic pass rusher on the edge, the Chargers. Khalil Mack, yes, another 1-year deal, and he'll just continue, I think, to sign 1-year deals until his production retires, I think.
They need a centerpiece there.
Yeah, and a long-term solution. As well. And you know what? I'm not even sure that the Chargers, if Loveland's available, I still think they'll go trenches.
Yep.
That's Harbaugh football, right?
And you wouldn't argue as far as raw talent with Pierce over Loveland, would you? You wouldn't think that that's a particular reach.
No, I wouldn't.
And even if I was considering a Mike Green too. I don't know who I would have taken if Mike Green was still there. I think I still would have taken Pierce, to be honest, because I love Pierce. But yeah, it's interesting. I'm super keen to see where they go on the day. I lambasted this pick as boring a few weeks ago, but it's anything but. It's a really interesting one.
Most people have got James Pierce Jr. as second best behind Abdul Carter.
They do.
As pass rusher in this draft. So, yeah, he slid to, 23 here? So
Yep, 22.
22, sorry. So, yeah.
Hawley, you know what I love? I love when I pick a guy that Doss prepared for because the analysis is double.
He's prepared for everyone.
Oh, that's true.
No, not
That's true.
everyone, but it's kind of wrecked one of my picks.
All right, that's we've got 10 picks to go. Quick recap of what we've done in this second slot. Will Johnson, the corner, to San Francisco. Matthew Golden, Doss took to Dallas, the wide receiver. Janae Barron, Hawley took to Miami, the cornerback. Colston Loveland, Doss's Colts, that tight end. Mike Green liked that pick to Atlanta by Hawley on the edge. Amika Ibuka I took with a risk, but it could pay off. Wide receiver, Ohio State to Arizona. The Bengals, Walter Nolan to the defensive interior. The Seahawks, Tyler Booker by Doss, the guard. Tampa Bay, Donovan Ezeraku on the edge. Hawley took them. 3 to go. The Denver Broncos, Amari and Hampton. Pittsburgh should do a Sanders. He's gone. That's such an intriguing pick, and I took the Chargers, James Pierce. All right, there's 10 to go, boys. There's 10 to go, and it's the Packers. Speaking of intriguing, and it's Christopher Hall.
Last pick.
Don't mess it up.
Is this your? Oh, it's your last pick. He's out after this.
I'm out of here, fellas.
Unfortunately, you gave Doss a lift.
Yeah, I have to
so you have to
say.
wait around. You can watch the footy. Adam Lambert to introduce this one. House of Smoke and Fire, Doss.
Welcome to the 2025 NFL Draft, right here in Green Bay. In 2025, the Green Bay Packers select
Jaden Higgins, wide receiver, Iowa State Cyclones.
Okay. You've gone real early on here.
Go.
Okay. I like it.
Please.
but
I have
maybe not a first.
I have Luther,
Good.
Jaden, Elick. I have a lot of these guys rated pretty similar.
Yep.
I like Jaden because he's a lot bigger. He's 193, 97 centimeters. 193, 97 kilos.
Yep.
Which is what I like. Now, he's a similar size to Christian Watson. A little bit heavier, but very similar height.
Also has a very low drop rate, so
Very
not
low
the same.
drop rate. So
That's what we
different.
need.
But between Jaden Reed, Romeo Daubs, and Christian Watson, they combined for 2,000 yards last year. And we've spoken about them a bit in the pod.
Bit of injury involved in there.
Well, that's the thing. We've spoken about them in the pod quite a bit, and Green Bay needed an upgrade at wide receiver, or they needed a wide receiver one, someone that can step in, take the brunt of Jordan Love's yards, and I think that this guy is the guy that can do it. I just like him because he's big. He's a big target.
I love the logic for this pick, right? Because who's the most productive wide receiver at Green Bay over the last 2 years?
There isn't.
Yes, there is. It's a clear option. Jaden Reed.
Jaden Reed
right?
is.
Who,
Only because he finished He finished poorly. That's why I stammered for a bit there.
But ideal world, slot guy, right? Smaller guy.
Yeah.
He's 180. He's
180.
6 foot.
Little
Or
fella.
just under 6 foot.
Then you've got Christian Watson, the deep threat, who's been perennially frustrated and injury prone, talented, or whatever. Then you've got Dobbs and Wicks and those guys who are those sort of like second, third tier X receivers, and they can mix up their roles. Bo Melton, all those kind of guys who never really cement their spot. But if Higgins becomes that proper can do it all receiver at that size, all of a sudden you got the X guy in Higgins, you got the slot guy in Reed, and he's versatile too. Higgins. I mean, he has played in the slot, but predominantly 2/3 of his snaps he lined up out wide for IO.
I think he'll be Love's get out of jail free card guy.
I hope so.
It's 3rd and long, and he's like, man, pressure's coming. I need someone to throw to. Where is he? Bang, give it to him.
Yep.
Like he's big. He's almost 100 kilos. Give him a couple of weeks in the gym with these NFL boys, and he's going to roll over 100 kilos rolling out as a wide receiver.
The only thing is you don't want him to get too big because he's not that quick at the moment. That's his one knock. He's not that quick.
Yeah.
He's a good contested catch. He's got good natural hands, but speed
Is
is
he a bit of a wide receiver tight end hybrid? He's probably not tall enough.
I'm not sure if he's that big.
He's not tall enough to fit into that tight end mold, is he?
It's a cool pick though. Are you happy with that as a Packers fan?
Not in the first round.
Not the first round. Okay.
Who did you want?
Second round pick. Oh, well,
Doesn't want to give it away.
No. The Packers need defensive line. They need edge. They need pressure. They're just not getting enough out of the current defensive linemen. And there's a couple of guys that are out of contract at the end of next season. So I think that's where they'll go. I like the pick. I just think if they can get him in the second round, I think that's where they look. I don't think they'd take him in the first round. But
All right.
I do like it.
We're staying in the NFC North with pick 24, and I'm literally rubbing my hands together because a pick has just fallen into my lap. Introducing the pick all the way from New Zealand is Matt Tatton-Brown for the Vikings.
Happy draft day, fellas. Big Vikings fan from New Zealand, Matt, aka NZ Teddy, phoning in here with the pick. Minnesota Vikings with their 24th pick of the draft. They choose
safety Malachi Starks, Georgia. Now, the reason I'm so excited about this, boys, is because Harrison Smith's been doing it all there for years for the Vikings, and finally they get a replacement for him, a long-needed replacement. And Starks, he is very high on the PFF big board. He comes from a good program, obviously. He's got great wingspan. He's got incredible top speed, and he can do it all as a safety. Not only DOS as a coverage man, but also as a run stopper. And we know that the players that have gone through the door at Minnesota, they have to do it all. They have to be tough on the outside. They have to be tough on the inside too. And I like that from Starks. He's got weapons as a safety, and this is a guy that if he does live up to his potential, he's an all-pro safety in future. And we know that they've had a great one in Smith for many years.
Yeah, nice pick, Kurt.
Like it?
Yeah, I do like it. Well
Thanks,
done.
man.
4 tackles for loss, interception, 3 passes defended. Played a full season. Again, Georgia Bulldogs defense. He's one of the smartest players on the field, real difference maker, and he can line up anywhere in the secondary as well, which is why I like Malachi Starks. Cam Bynum as well out the door.
Yes.
To the Colts.
Yep.
And free agency. So safety is a need for the Minnesota Vikings.
Oh, this is my run. This is where my run of picks starts because I've got not only the Vikings, but straight into the Houston Texans.
Was a bit noisy.
Sorry, that was loud. I apologize. I've got a lot juggling. I've got my paper notes. I've got my computer. I've got my...
Just don't knock that glass of Shiraz over.
No, it's all good. Don't worry. This one is introduced by Ryan Langworthy.
What's up, H-Town, baby? Battle Red, baby, let's ride. With the 25th pick in the Outback Podcast National Draft, your Houston Texans select.
I can't believe this guy's still here. Josh Simmons, tackle, Ohio State. Now, this, boys, is a bona fide tackle, and I was thinking of taking him very, very early on in the draft. I'm talking top 10 kind of stuff. But Simmons is still somehow there at 25. Team needs whatever it is. But this is a guy who, I mean, look, he addresses their biggest need. We've spoken incredulously this offseason about Laramie Tunsil being let go, about that happening on the back of a year where CJ Stroud was chased around the field and had no chance of being effective wholly. We know that they needed this O-line fixed, and now we get a guy who is technically proficient. He's solid. He's a day one starter, and he's someone who the experts look at and say they can't pick too many flaws in Josh Simmons' game.
Well, the glaring need obviously was the offensive line, and put in comparison, obviously the Super Bowl that everybody watched. The pressure rate on Patty Mahomes was what CJ Stroud faced the entire year.
Yeah.
Now everyone watched the Super Bowl and said, "Wow, Mahomes got blitzed. He got killed." Well, he didn't get blitzed at all, but he got the pressure rate was through the roof. We couldn't believe what was happening. So then go and compare that to a guy that's had to play with that the entire year is remarkable statistic, remarkable comparison. So it's a pick. If Josh Simmons does fall to pick 25. They'll be ecstatic.
Concern on the knee injury, Kurt?
That's the knock, and that's why he falls.
Knock,
that's why he
Otherwise,
falls.
I think he's a top 10 lock.
Exactly. And
Josh Simmons, because I think he's awesome. Because go back to his 2023 season, allowed just the 1 sack and 4 QB hits on 443 snaps, right?
Yep.
So, and started and played every game that season, and started last season well too. Only played the 6 games, so. Left tackle, glaring need. I like it.
Is that where you sit him left tackle? Because he played right tackle in 2022, and then they shifted him.
This is the great thing.
In
He can play both
2023,
sides.
so he can go where you need him to go.
That's great for Houston. I mean, with Tunsil leaving, they need it on the left-hand side, so makes sense.
And Dos, I think that knee injury, that's the reason Will Campbell is the consensus number 1 tackle.
Yeah.
Right? If Simmons was fit, you think it would be close?
I think Simmons is ahead of Membu then if he's...
Oh, he's ahead of Membu. I'm saying
Yeah.
he might be close to Campbell.
Yeah, I'd probably even, based on pure talent, I'd probably have him ahead of Will Campbell, to be honest. But
all right.
He's a star, Simmons. I just hope his knee holds up.
Here we go again. I'm just going to need a second just to compose myself here because I got the LA
You got
Rams.
the next pick.
I know. Yeah, I know, but it's a lot happening. 3 picks in
And
a row.
you've also had the 2 previous ones.
It should be pretty prepped, I reckon. There's no surprises. You're picking them.
Well, that's true. That is true. Okay. I've sent the picks in. Let me buy myself some time. It's introduced by the energetic Max Quinn, the LA Rams, and this one takes a while, so I'm going to use that time to prepare.
Hello, Outback Quarterback listeners and hosts. It's your friend, Max Quinn, here, the NFL's International Fan of the Year for the LA Rams in 2023, and current musician. You can find my new song, Guru, on streaming services now.
Unapproved plug.
Look, I'm here to talk about the Rams and what I'd like for our first round pick in 2025. The situation is this. We have some holes in the secondary.
Okay, I'm ready,
The front
Max.
seven, look, we're looking pretty good. If we are in a position to draft off-ball linebacker Jihad Campbell, I won't complain. But for me, let's talk about what's going on in the secondary. I think that something that we could really do well to address would be the star position, okay? That Jahdae Barron, Nick Emanwari, Malachi Starks type of player. I'm not in control of this.
Nope.
I'm just putting the feelers out. And I'd like to tell you now that with the 26th pick in the 2025 Outback Quarterback Mock Draft, the LA Rams select
Gray Zabel, tackle, North Dakota State Bison. Now, this was a difficult decision because I was tossing up between Zabel and Kelvin Banks Jr. And I'll tell you why, Doss, I went for Zabel instead. It's his versatility, right? Now, this is a team that has a couple of good guards. Steve Avila, I like. All right, I mean, they've got Kevin Dotson as well on the other side, not too bad. But they've got Havenstein at right tackle, who's 32 years old, will need to be replaced. They've got Alaric Jackson, who's 26, but he's not a top-tier tackle. And when you look at Zabel, he's played everywhere. He's a 5-position guy on that O-line, and his last couple of years have been very good, and he's gotten better. We talked about it, was it with Mason Graham earlier, the DI? We talked about guys that get better every year they're in college. And this has been the case for Gray Zabel. Technically, sure, there are a couple of things that can be worked out, but he's only conceded 4 sacks in 3 years. The other guy I was thinking about was Kelvin Banks Jr. Now, he's a bolted-on left tackle. He's a guy that has played his whole college career there, and he's been very good too, from Texas. But I ultimately decided in a coin flip, went for Zabel there. Jihad Campbell is still on the board, the linebacker. I know Max will be disappointed, but I like the front seven a fair bit already in LA, and I think tackle is a more glaring need to spend their number one pick on for this year. What do you think of that?
I don't mind it for the Rams. I've gone with Kurt. What have I said here?
Not sexy.
Likely corner, but but potentially O-line.
Okay, so you like that. So you weren't looking at linebacker?
No, I wasn't for the Rams for you. So
okay, all right. Julio, I always feel a little better when Doss approves of my pick, to be honest, because I rate your football brain. I know that you
imagine if you make a
well.
pick for Doss's team and he doesn't like it.
It's very very kind of you.
No, I don't think he might. Oh no, he didn't like it. He said he should have waited another round. Doss, you're back in now. This is just a you and me fest from here on in. Hawley, you got any comments to add while we're still going?
I think you boys get moving. I'm ready to go. Yeah, let's do it.
As in, go home.
Yeah.
Think of the listener, Hawley. They love a 2-hour bonanza.
To get cold. I got told I have to take my jacket off.
Oh, you can put it on now because you're not going to make any points. You can put it back on if you like. Introducing the Ravens pick is Eduardo Gonzalez.
With the 27th pick in the 2025 NFL Draft, the Baltimore Ravens select
Kenneth Grant, defensive tackle, Michigan. And I can't believe he's fallen this far, to be quite honest. Get him in, pair him up with Mamdi Madubuike.
Oh, yes.
Formerly Justin Madubuike. To upgrade the run defense is pretty good, but you bring in Kenneth Grant to pair alongside there. That'll allow those linebackers to stay clean. 41 games for Michigan. Won the national championship. Only became a full-time starter, though, last year. But was very good. 6.5 tackles for loss, 3 sacks, 32 tackles, second team, all Big Ten honors. And this is Ravens just draft defense in the first round, right? This is, I think, GM Eric DeCosta would love to pair Kenneth Grant next to Madubuike. And, he can rock those pass protectors. He's just a up-front, smash-mouth footballer, and it's just Baltimore written all over it if he falls there.
I like Kenny Grant, and he's going to be a guy that, because you've taken him tonight, you're going to follow him as like a cult hero for the next few years. He's going to call him Little Kenny or My Kenny or something like that.
KG.
KG, there we go.
My boy
KG Jr.?
My boy KG.
Cage.
We're going to get him on the pod. Let's get Kenneth Grant on the pod.
I thought you meant Kenny Cunningham.
Oh, no.
We'll get him on too.
Get him on too, if you want.
I like it, Doss. All right, Hawley's about to fall asleep. I know the fans are still hanging on to our every word, but I've got Detroit Lions. Introduced by Will Gardner.
With the 28th pick, the NFC North champion, cheese grating, Viking stomping, bear hunting Detroit Lions select
Jihad Campbell, linebacker, Alabama. Now, this is a pick that, I didn't know whether Campbell would still be around because linebacker is a very hard position to place in the first round, but they've got Anzalone, they've got Campbell, and now they've got they've got
Jack Campbell.
Yeah, they've got Jack Campbell. Now they've got Jihad Campbell. So they've got the Campbell brothers, I'm calling them from now on. And that's a fearsome proposition. Now, I did think about getting another guy on the edge. I'm going to give it away. Am I going to give it away?
You can give it away if you want.
Yeah, I'll give it away. I was going to go Nick Scorton because I quite like Scorton on the edge. Oh, Doss is going to get him. Doss is going to get him now. Is that who you're going to get next? Oh, he's going to get him for the for the Commanders. Well, there you go. I was thinking about Hutch on one side and Scorton on the other, Doss.
I've gone in
like that?
bold and capitals. Du Bois will go edge here in my notes.
For Lions?
Yeah.
I would have if Campbell wasn't still there.
Yeah.
But I think
I thought Hawley would grab him earlier on for Tampa, actually.
And the thing about Jihad is that he can also add some value on the edge. He's not just a linebacker in that designation. So we know that he's versatile. He's good at everything. He's good at the pass rush. He's good at the run block. He's strong. He doesn't miss tackles. That's the other thing about him. He just makes them stick. So I think it's a Detroit Lions pick. I think it fortifies that box, and I like it. All right, Doss, you're up now. We know what you got to do. The pixie, and I'll play the sound effect just out of habit. And it's introduced by JD from the Ballin' in Burgundy podcast, our friends. Now, buckle in, Hawley. It's another minute here.
Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, children of all ages, welcome to the Outback QB podcast mock draft just before the 2025 NFL draft. Who am I? Main event. JD representing the best football podcast in all of North America. What is that, you might ask? Well, ladies and boys and children of all ages, that would be the Ballin' in Burgundy podcast. Yeah, myself and the fellas were requested by the fellas to introduce the pick for the best sports franchise in the world, the Washington Commanders. And I'm going to do just that, styling and profiling. So with that being said, with the 29th overall pick in the 2025 NFL Draft, Jaden Daniels, Terry McLaurin, Adam Peters, Dan Quinn, Josh Harris, and the three-time world champion Washington Commanders select
Nick Scorton, edge, Texas A&M.
Pumped with that, Hawley?
Well done, mate. Yeah, brilliant pick.
5 sacks last year, first team all SEC, Hawley. Devastating spin move, 6'3", 285 pounds. Up near, getting close to your size, Hawley there. Dynamic, well, the Commanders need a dynamic edge rusher. Dante Fowler left in free agency. They're a little thin there. And they need that D-line to be strong if they want to return back to the playoffs. And Scorton, awesome athleticism, and he would fit right in with that Dan Quinn, Joe Witt defensive scheme.
Yep.
First step is lightning quick. There is some technical refinement that will happen, but I think this would be a great pick for Washington and a good landing spot for Scorton to further develop in the NFL.
I like that. I'm going to roll straight in to the Buffalo Bills, and that's introduced by Muzz, also known as Chucky Wookie.
With pick 30 in the 2025 Outback Quarterback mock draft, the mighty Buffalo Bills select and cut. And I swear, if Doss doesn't pick a bloody defensive tackle, one technique in the first round, I'm going to drive him to Adelaide and I'm going to smash it. Oh, wait, is that recording? Stop.
Now, he did send an email clarifying that he realised it was my pick, but he thought that you would have some input and pressure me, so he just wanted to quell your influence immediately. Now, Muzz, I sorry for disappointing you. I thought about Harmon or Alexander and the DI to go with Ed Oliver, but I'm going cornerback Trey Amos from
Ooh,
Mississippi
okay.
because I feel the Bills really do need some premium talent in that corner position, Dos. We've spoken about how the defensive backs have sort of aged and been replaced and not really excelled to a point that is befitting of Buffalo Bills football at the moment. And Trey Amos out of Mississippi, he's a guy that I like. An incredible coverage grade. 3 interceptions last year, allowed only a 54 passer rating as Dos trolls through his notes to try and find where Amos is. He doesn't like it. He doesn't like Amos.
I'm
blown
alright,
it.
but you're throwing a bit of shade on my boy Christian Benford.
Well, Benford's fine, but he needs a partner. I mean, you can't. One cornerback does not a secondary make, Dos.
No, I would like another. Dane Jackson's not getting it done. I would like another
See?
one.
There you go.
Yes, I would like another one.
I don't mind Taron Johnson, but I want Amos to fit in there, right? He's got great technique. He's got great hands. He's a ball hawk, and you know I love nothing more
We
in the
can
NFL
play
than a ball
three
hawk.
because Taron Johnson's more of a nickel. But yeah,
That's what I mean. You got Taron.
No, I
you got
don't
Taron
mind
at
it.
nickel. You got Benford on one side, and now you got Trey Amos.
Wrap at safety. Yep.
He's one that some teams are really high on and some teams are just lukewarm on. And I know I'm burnt by my cornerback pick of the past when I took Emmanuel Forbes at pick 16 or whatever it was for the Commanders. No, that's where the Commanders actually took him. Where did I take him? A bit lower than that, but still too high. Anyway, I've gone for a cornerback, and that's Trey Amos at the Bills. There's 2 picks to go in this draft. I'm up next, Dos, with Kansas City.
Yeah,
then you're going to
get
finish
the
it off.
87 pom-poms out.
All right.
Here we go.
Now, let's make sure I get this right. Let me just have a quick look at my notes here. Okay, yes. Oh. Hang on a minute. Just trying to check that. Okay. I know what I'm doing here.
Draft Luther Burden. Go on. Take him.
Dos. How you underestimate me. Elliot Brand introducing the pick for the Chiefs.
With the 31st pick in the 2025 Outback QB mock draft, the Kansas City Chiefs, who play in the Cathedral of Football, Arrowhead Stadium, select...
Who am I taking?
Kelvin Banks.
Yes, I'm taking Kelvin Banks Jr., the tackle from the Texas Longhorns, because I do not want to see Jalen Moore, the previous backup from San Francisco, trying to protect Patrick Mahomes. And I'm sick and tired of Juwan Taylor as well, but Banks will fit in on the left-hand side. He has played almost 3,000 snaps at left tackle for Texas over the last 3 years, and in that time only conceded 4 sacks. He is a guy who rates well everywhere. He can block for the run game. He blocks on the blind side. He's got good technique. He can move, and he's a big boy. And Kelvin Banks is fitting in perfectly at the Kansas City Chiefs. I don't need to say any more, Dos or Hawley. I know you're keen on this offensive line pick for the Chiefs at 31. I know you're excited about it.
Should have taken Cam Scatterbo.
3rd round running back. Built like a marble. That was my call, wasn't it?
Who they could get in the third.
Built like a marble. You can't knock him off course.
That's one of the best calls I've ever heard on this podcast.
Thanks, man.
Big. Oh, you've thrown shade on him.
All right,
Cam
Dos.
Scatterbo.
All right, Dos. You've got the Mr. Irrelevant of this draft. All right, because it's only a one-round draft.
32.
Pick 32. We're almost there. You've done well, Hawley. There's a yawn for all the
that's a big yawn
viewers on
too.
YouTube. It's what is it? We're at
9:48.
Almost 10 o'clock.
2-hour episode.
To be introduced by I'm going to say it, the constant thorn in my side, who is Richard Gosling.
With the 32nd pick in the 2025 NFL Draft, the reigning Super Bowl champions, who provided the Chiefs the ass-kicking of a lifetime, the Philadelphia Eagles choose
Shamar Stewart, edge.
Oh, I didn't think that was happening, Dos.
Texas A&M. Look, many have got him falling on draft boards because of the lack of production. However, impact runs a little deeper than that, because when you look at 39 total pressures over the 315 pass rushing snaps, according to PFF, the disruptive potential, fellas, in the NFL, and combined with the freakish athletic testing at the combine across, what is it, the 40, the 10-yard split, the vertical and the broad jump, all his numbers stack up and compare to Myles Garrett.
Yep.
So.
He just didn't convert any of that in college. But
No,
whatever.
he didn't. So, remember with Nolan Smith 2 drafts ago, many also questioned his lack of production in college as well.
Yep.
And that's turned out pretty well for the Philadelphia Eagles. And I believe playing under one of the best defensive coordinators in Vic Fangio, that they can get the best out of Shamar Stewart with Josh Sweat leaving in free agency I think he would fit right in. One of the most athletic edges ever to enter the NFL draft.
It's a divisive pick, and I'm glad it's gone in round one because that's a talking point. I don't know whether Eagles fans will be happy or dismayed with that one, but I deliberately stayed away from him. I know you did, Hawley, as well, because we're production guys, and we just didn't see it, but who knows? Who knows? It's the Trayvon Walker debate all over again, even more extreme this time. Right? I mean, I know it was elevated because Walker was a number one pick, but still, I think Shamar will go in the first round. I think he will in the real world because they won't be able to look past those fundamentals or that athleticism. But I don't know. It's a risk. Don't mind it. When you're the reigning Super Bowl champs, you can take a risk though, Dos.
Yeah. I was very close to picking Derek Harmon.
Oh, yeah. I like Harmon too. All right. Well, that's the mock draft. Well done, boys. That was good fun. Let's go through those last few picks. 23 was Higgins to Green Bay, Starks to Minnesota, the safety, Simmons to Houston, Gray Zabel, the tackle, to LA, Kenneth Grant on the interior defense to Baltimore, Jihad Campbell to Detroit, Nick Scorton to Washington, Trey Amos, the corner, to Buffalo, Kelvin Banks, the tackle, to KC, and Shamar Stewart, the edge, to Philadelphia. The number one pick overall was Cam Ward. It was Cam Ward, Hunter, Carter, Campbell, Graham. The rest of the top 10 was Genty, McMillan, Walker, Membu, and Warren. And that seems about 4 hours ago at this point, boys. A couple of names that did not get taken that were interesting.
Boy, E-Man.
E-Man?
Nick Eamon-Worry.
I thought you were going to take Eamon-Worry for all money. You love him.
I do.
He's early second, the safety.
I was contemplating taking him for Baltimore at 27, but Kenneth Grant fell.
You know, another one that we stayed away from, I'm very surprised about, Luther Burden the third, wide receiver from Missouri.
I thought a wide receiver might go a little later in the draft.
Oh, you think we went too early?
No, I thought there'd be another wide receiver taken.
Oh, you thought there would be?
That would be Luther.
Okay.
You boys went in different directions.
Omar Norman Lott, the defensive interior man from Tennessee, didn't go. Kevin Winston, the safety, didn't go. Josh Connolly, the tackle. Ilikioma Nor, the wide receiver, but he's probably a second rounder. And Ben Morrison was probably the other one, the cornerback from Notre Dame who didn't go. And probably Michael Williams on the edge. I thought he might go. Early second, Dosh, you think?
No, I think
I think it's a reasonable draft.
Yeah.
All right.
Apart from the only thing that'll shake this up a bit, Higgins surprised me a bit with Hawley, but the only thing that will surprise is teams, I think, that'll trade up at the end of the first round to maybe grab a quarterback.
You think that'll happen?
Oh, I think it will.
Do you think there'll be a big trade, Hawley, a big first round trade, like a top 5 pick?
No, I don't think there will because there aren't. We're not seeing early quarterbacks.
Yep.
I think Tennessee are pretty set on Cam Ward, so they're not going to trade that pick out. I hope they do. It'd be great to see. But I think they'll go with Cam. And then Sanders is not one that people are trading into 2, 3, 4 to grab.
Yep.
He's sliding down a little. Whereas in previous years, like last year, if there were the quarterbacks in the draft this year that we had last year, then maybe we would see some picks, some big trades. But because of the quarterback situation this year, I don't think there'll be any big trades. I think what Dos said, there'll be some teams that maybe trade from the back end of the second round into an early second round spot to take a quarterback, or middle of the second
into
to
late
first to grab one. Yeah.
So I could see the teams that I'm looking at trading back are the teams that don't have a lot of draft capital. So you look at the Vikings have only got 4 picks in this draft, who are at pick 24. I think are a trade back candidate.
Yep.
And Atlanta, I think, are one. They've only got 5 picks, I mentioned the other day as well. They're pretty lean at 15. They're another one that could potentially drop back. And that's where you could see the Browns or the Giants jump back into round 1 to maybe grab a quarterback.
But I tell you what, if the Vikings still have Malachi Starks available at safety from Georgia like I did tonight, I don't think they're going to trade back.
Yeah, I was kind of
snap him up.
Yeah, I was hoping he'd fall a little lower, but it's all right.
All right, boys. That was a great effort. Well prepped, well executed. Thank you very much to everybody who submitted a clip. I mean, that does make the show, Dos. We love hearing from the listeners. I know we poke fun at some of them, but that's all in good fun. We love when you poke fun at us as well. We love it when you instigate. It's even better. And there's only one way to end the week, Hawley. Has he got it? Oh, he's got it. I did not expect it. I was throwing that out as a red herring.
I had like 40 minutes to sit in here. So
True. Oh, that's fantastic. It's a 2-hour show. It's a bonanza.
So after the Packers, he's probably written on his thing, joke of the week.
Love this. All right, Hawley, let's go.
Oh. What do you call a retired vegetable? A has-been. Glad you like that one, Dos.
I think
I
that's
like the wombat one last week. I told my daughter
wombat
that she didn't quite get it, and then I got chopped up by my wife, who's just said, "What are you saying that for?" She asked me what joke of the week was this week. I told her.
Did she really ask you what joke of the week?
Yeah,
was?
she likes all these
Does
jokes
she
of the
really?
week. Yes,
that
she
is
does.
the sweetest thing I've ever heard.
She's like, "What's the joke of the week, Daddy?"
Really?
Yeah. Oh yeah.
I love that.
Oh yeah.
Got a fan.
Do you make sure though that? I mean, I'm a bit annoyed that you're telling her you should open up another device, get the download from her listening to the joke of the week, because every number counts.
It's
Doss.
on my phone. Jeez, take it easy, mate. I've got 2 phones going.
Make
got a
sure you
laptop
stream it
going.
separately. Is all I'm saying. Right? We need
Everyone
these
else too.
numbers.
If you've got multiple phones, work phones, just.
That's right. Burner phones, whether you're doing nefarious deeds, we don't care as long as you are downloading the Outback Quarterback podcast.
Oh, I got to get my
YouTube
burner ready for draft day.
It's all it's all about YouTube, DOS these days. That's where we're going to. We're starting to get, we've got 1,500 views on a few reels this week. We cracked the 100 on a few of our longer videos too. So people do sit down and watch long form episodes, and we love it.
That's it. Subscribe on YouTube, hit the like, and then follow on Spotify.
Absolutely. All right, boys. That's a 2-hour banner. It's the first time we've had pretty much 2 hours of content out there. It's a long form ep. We love it. Thank you for listening. Thank you for sticking with us. We know a lot of you did, and we appreciate that. We hope you're happy with our picks, and if you're not, come at me, bro. Podcast at outbackqb.com.
Come at Kurt.
Come at Doss as well on the DMs on Insta.
I think I'll get chopped up on a couple.
Hawley gets away scot-free because he's not involved in the tech. We'll see you all next week. The draft is Friday, day 1. Day 2 is rounds 2 and 3. That's the Saturday, our time. And then Sunday.
Friday and Saturday, good. Sunday will be done.
When are we doing those rounds?
Where are we doing those?
Yeah.
What do you mean where? As in where are we recording?
When are we?
When are we? Oh, for our mock draft.
Yeah.
Mate,
you guys not prepped them?
you got bored with 15 picks. I don't think you're going to round 6.
I only had
15,
9.
you had
I
9.
didn't I?
Yeah, I meant by pick 15 of the overall draft. You were pretty ready to check
I
out.
was done by pick 21.
Doss, you can sleep over here tonight. We'll do rounds 2 through 7. Ready to go?
Oh, yeah, let's
All right.
do it.
We'll be out tomorrow. See you, everyone.
See ya.